Hello, hello, hello. All right. All right. Sorry, hectic day. Is everyone doing okay? Everyone doing all right? What's going on? All right, first of all, I'm sorry that this stream could not happen last week, but we do have to talk about the last chapter. Was out of town one, I was really banking on this chapter coming out last Thursday. When it didn't, it became very difficult to cover this chapter because I was out of town for a wedding this weekend. But we got the Monday stream. So Monday stream, we'll cover it today. Works out, I guess, in the long run. Sorry, normally I want to cover the chapter as soon as it comes out. Let me catch up on anything that people were doing last stream. There's a few memberships from last stream. I think JWP gifted some memberships. Hold on. Stream succeeded way too late. Hey, I'm sorry. Let me try and see. How do I see the memberships from last stream? There's got to be a way. I know that JWP did some stuff. Seen supers. I hope everyone's doing good. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Man, I can't. Okay, I know that we had one Pirate King tier member join last time, while waiting for last stream, and then JWP gifted several memberships. So, sorry, I do want to shout out everybody I can. I don't have the data for who was there for those streams before, or do I? Hold on. Do I have something? Oh no, I found it. Okay, Binks Tavern. First of all, welcome to Pirate King tier. Binks Tavern. I believe you were on the stream last week yourself. So thanks for joining Pirate King tier. I appreciate the support, of course. JWP, thanks again for gifting several memberships to the good people in chat. Edson Alon, welcome to Pirate King. I am recording the Pirate King podcast today after this stream is over, so watch out for that. Restriker, welcome. Thanks for joining. And thanks for upgrading your membership to Yonko. The Yonko podcast did come out today. So thanks, everybody. And then, Kiara, thanks for the 50. Holy shit, thank you so much. Am I going to react to the new One Piece episode? I can. I've seen a little bit of that clip already. So I'll be honest, I've seen like a little bit of Garp versus Aokiji, but I'd be happy to check out the whole thing. So I saw a bit of the skirmish between the two, but I can do a reaction just because we'll probably have time. Most people have talked about chapter 1128. The main things to discuss are kind of just trying to solve the mystery of what's going on right now. So we can, you know what? We can do that. Let me remove this message I've pinned. I'll say end of stream. We'll be reacting to newest One Piece episode at end of stream. So thanks for the reminder. And Aranami with a really good point. Fuck. Might have given people the wrong idea. My bad. Nerve and V-Maker, thanks for the 10. Great chapter. Favorite character bits were Luffy expecting more out of Usopp and Sanji highlighting Zoro and Luffy's similar fighting spirit. I think these could be major themes that are explored this arc. I do think that Usopp is going to be a major point of that, but I also think that, I don't know, Zoro and Luffy, them being on the same wavelength, that does happen pretty much every arc where there's some, like, fighting shit to be done. Going back all the way to, Jaya, for example, when they both got upset that, Burgess was being called a champion. So I don't know if it'll be major themes in the arc, but I do think at least with Usopp, it's a good sign of future potential for something being done with his character. So I do look at the Usopp moment as important. And Nerve and V-Maker, thanks again for the 5. Also, Sanji's gag was funnier in this chapter than the entirety of post-time skip. It works way better when it's delivered deadpan. I 100% agree. And you know why that is, though? Here's the thing. Here's the main difference between this chapter versus previous chapters, okay? So if you go back, and I harp on this shit, but I think that this is a great example, which is that if you want to go back to when One Piece's comedy was genuinely, truly at its best, you have to go back to pre-time skip. You have to, because post-time skip, while it's better in some ways for certain things, post-time skip, what's changed is, here, let me show. Hold on. What's changed with post-time skip is that we just get less time with individual scenes. And you genuinely, for like... How do I explain this? Like, Oda's having to move the plot along in a million different ways in most post-time skip chapters, right? So if I skip to a random Egghead chapter, like chapter 11, 11, 11, right? Most likely what I'm going to be reading is like 5 different scenes, right? So like this happens, some shit's over here is happening. Oh, we got a diagram to show where everybody's at, right? And then some shit's happening here. That's all good. So we get this scene, which is a good scene, right? Then we're moving on to some Nami shit over here. Bonnie and Mars, some Kizaru shit, Emit. A lot's moving, right? So there are going to be gags, of course. There's like comedy bits and stuff like that. But generally speaking... Hey, shh. Generally speaking, it's going to be Oda having to come up with little jokes interspersed with everything else going on. And when you just have to come up with little jokes interspersed with lots of things going on, just to keep the tone light, then what happens is you just default to simple jokes, right? Just have Sanji say something perverted or hard eyes, or just having a nosebleed come out is the simplest thing you can do with Sanji. Just having Frankie say something super, or having Usopp like cry and tear up and say something cowardly. Like, there doesn't need to be a lot of thought into those sort of things, right? Versus if you go back to like pre-time skip, right? Like, this is one of my favorite little chapters in One Piece. Is it... First of all, am I screen sharing properly? I am. Right? If you go back to like chapter... Yeah, like this is one of my favorite little chapters in One Piece. It's actually a few chapters in a row. It's just Luffy and Sanji taking Nami up to the mountain, right? It's just a full chapter devoted to Luffy and Sanji chatting while they take Nami up a mountain. And the entire time, there's this little rabbit that's angry at them and just keeps attacking them while they're having this comical little... this comical little sketch going on in the background, right? The joke is Luffy and Sanji talking. They're considering each other stupid for their points of views. Sanji's making fun of Luffy for being stupid. Luffy's making fun of Sanji for being stupid. And the entire time, this rabbit's attacking them. They keep ignoring it, yada, yada, yada. And then finally, the punchline is they kick this rabbit out because they're sick of this fucking rabbit. It's been interrupting their conversation too long. And then, punchline number 2 is, oh, fuck, maybe we shouldn't have fucking kicked that rabbit. And then the scene continues on from there, right? You can do this, even though obviously this is cutting around a lot, but, like, there's not that much plot stuff. There's not emphasis on, like, we need to have significant plot stuff happening at the same time as, like, this isn't some serious fight with the rabbit, right? It's a scene just devoted to the characters interacting, just having some comedy, right? If you read this, Sanji's gag is actually really fucking funny here because it comes after him chastising Luffy for making lots of stupid assumptions, but then you come around to, okay, Sanji's just as stupid in his own way, right? When you're devoting a scene just to character interactions and just making it funny for the sake of being funny, then it's going to be a lot better than just having, like, a lot of plot stuff going on, and then it's like, but it's One Piece, so we have to throw in some jokes, so, like, what if we have Usopp yelling about how he's scared or something like that in the background, and that counts as a joke? Right? You get basically the most simple version of character jokes. Or like Sanji has a nosebleed because he's thinking something perverted in the background, right? Like you have the most simple version of jokes when you don't have time to actually focus on comedy, right? So I enjoyed the latest chapter largely because it is just the Straw Hats interacting with each other at a fairly slow pace, right? And they're trying to figure things out, but there's not crazy battles or anything happening, right? It's a nice slow-paced chapter filled with character interactions and everything like that, and you actually can, like, that gives Oda more time to think of, like, actually funny jokes or gags to go with that, right? Like, one of my favorite gags of this chapter was just, like, you know, they're chatting, they're talking, blah, 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 can we do this, can we do that? This was funny, obviously, and then it's like... hey, are you listening, Luffy? And it's like, oh, it's going to be another example of Luffy just goofing around, not paying attention. It's like, oh, no, Luffy's actually, he's like, yeah, I just thought I'd blow this guy away first. And it's like, oh, wait, Luffy's actually got a good point. Maybe deal with that first before you get to any other shit, right? So it's a good chapter just because it has it's a good chapter for comedy just because it has the flexibility to be, to tell jokes, you know, to actually have Oda flex his comedy muscles, you know? Bitey McGar, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. Was gifted a sub again at some point, thanks. God damn it, you've been gifted a sub that many times. Does the giant cat get character development like King Bomb? Definitely should, of course, of course. It depends. It depends. First of all, I want to ask everybody, what do we think in terms of, like, I posited that we might not be in Elbaf, right? I don't know if that's going to be true, not true. I don't know. We'll find out whether or not that's the case. Unfortunately, so what normally happens with chapter reviews is, like, for algorithm purposes, after you drop a video right after the chapter, all my chapter reviews I unlist and then put on the Morj archives channel, so you can always find them. I don't know what to do with this video because it's not technically a chapter review, but it's a chapter focused theory. But it's like I kind of wanted to stick around. I wanted to be up. So I'm like, do I keep it on the main channel, or do I enlist it and put it on archives or something? Because I don't know. I kind of want it to be up, but it's generally bad for videos that come out right after the chapter to stay up on the channel, right? That's why the Tuesday videos are the ones that I keep up. So this one I dropped the same day as the chapter. I'm like, fuck, what do I do with it now, though? What do I do? What's the plan with this video? Because I would like it to stay up just because I think it has interesting points and interesting points of discussion. But at the same time, it's bad for algorithm purposes. Because originally it was labeled like One Piece chapter 1128 theory, right? Like it was a chapter based video, and then over time it was like, wait, that probably shortens its lifespan, so I removed that from the title. I don't know what to do with this video. I might just keep it up. I don't know about the cat. I really don't know about the cat. Something's different about the cat, obviously, than the other gods, quote unquote, because the cat has some sort of an ability. Colin Parker, thanks to the 10. Blackbeard rose to power betraying his crew, and he'll probably die at the hands of his crew. It's completely opposite of Luffy's bond with the Strats. And what more priority end is there than mutiny? Luffy beats him, though. Ooh, now I'm thinking about, like, that Scar scene with the hyenas, of the hyenas killing him at the end of The Lion King. Lion King, my favorite animated movie of all time, by the way. Just nostalgia, childhood stuff. But that is a pretty brutal scene for, like, a Disney villain. Blackbeard dying at the hands of his crew would be cool and would be very, very fitting. Hey, Casey, no. That is a cool idea. That is a very, very interesting idea. It would be, fitting dramatic irony. Dom says show dog. Okay, I could show one of the dogs. Okay, who's coming? Casey, come here. Okay. The problem is they're big, or at least Casey's big. Yeah. This is Casey. Casey, look. Yeah, good girl. Okay, Harley, come here. Harley, come here. Harley, come here. Harley, come here. No. Harley, come here. Harley does not want to be picked up, so he has escaped. If he gets closer, becomes unsuspecting, I'll try and pick him up again. Batman for real, thanks for the 2. No chapter review. I don't care for theories. Ah, shit. I guess this can kind of be the chapter review. Oh, fuck. Now he thinks it's playtime. Harley, down. Come here. Ah, whatever. I guess I can get, my general chapter thoughts I can share here. I thought people would be more interested in that than just a standard chapter review, so I swapped it, and I couldn't really do 2 videos in one day, so I balanced that against chapter review. Sean Easton, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 20 months, man. Thank you for the long-time support. Hey, Morj, could you please do a donation stream for those affected by the hurricane in Appalachia? Whole towns have been wiped out. If you're saving a good topic, that would be a worthy cause. The best topic I'm saving is probably the waifu tier list, but I don't know if that's fitting for this. I did not know about... Hold on. I knew that there was a huge hurricane for North Carolina lately. Oh, is it Helene? Hold on. Sorry if I'm not super tuned into the news as I should be. Let me look into it. Because I know the Appalachian Mountains. Where did it hit? Is this Helene that hit North Carolina? Because I knew about that, or the hurricane that hit North Carolina. Hold on. Yeah, Helene. I did not know about this. I can look into that. I know that there's ways to do good donation streams such that the money goes directly. Like, I don't want it to go through YouTube because YouTube eats a chunk of it each time. So it would be a donation. If I were to do a donation stream, then I'd want to set it up because YouTube takes like 30 to something, like depending on where you're at, like 30 to 50% of each donation. So if I were to set up like a donation stream, which I've never done before, if I were to do something like that, then I'd want to set it up so that you can donate directly to the actual cause. Let me see about doing something like that. That is a really good idea. I'm sorry, I didn't think about that because I've never done donation streams. I probably should. That's a good way to use my platform/venue. And two, I think I just have not been tuned into the news as much. I actually know somebody who lives in North Carolina, so I heard that there was a hurricane hitting there. So I messaged him, and he said that he was fine and that it only hit like an area of it. And then I stopped thinking about it, which is shitty, but that was basically the level of news that I got about the hurricane. So I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was that it was this bad. So we can pocket this and think about this potentially for maybe a weekend stream. Maybe a light Sunday, a Sunday stream when there's nothing else going on. We could look for that. Yokai Gota, thanks for the 5. We were still in Wano last time Hunter x Hunter was releasing, and we still have no review. JK, I know it's coming. No review. Oh, Wano analysis. Oh, I see what you're saying. Omar, thanks for the being a Yonko tier member for 5 months. Thank you for showing dog, of course. And I can sneak up on Harley real quick. Hold on. Shouldn't have said his name. Oh, he's getting ready. He's too ready. He's prepared. He knows what I'm trying to do. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. Jordan Vance says, Tekken 101 would be good to reach out on how to do it. Yeah, I actually have asked him one time before on how to do one of those. Hey. I actually have asked him one time before on how to do one of those because one of my friends passed away, and there was a heart walk thing that you could do, and each group had like a goal to get their person's everybody set a goal for like how much you can fundraise or whatever for each group. Harley, no. How much you could fundraise for like each group kind of. Everyone who joins in on the Heart Walk, like you fall under somebody's umbrella. Like my friend's name was John, so we're all under the John umbrella. So you kind of not compete, but like everybody sets a goal for how much you're trying to fundraise or whatever. So we were kind of short of the goal for a time. So then I was considering like maybe I could do a stream to try and get us over the edge or whatever. But then we got there anyway, so then I ended up not doing it, which is maybe a bad reason. But I did reach out to Tekken around that time asking, so I might do that again. JWP, thanks for the 5, and thanks for all of the gifted subs memberships, of course, last time. I'm sorry we didn't get to start that stream, but everybody say thanks to JWP just because he started off that last stream with a lot of, he started off that last stream with a lot of gifted memberships for people, as usual. Yo, Morj man, long time no Morj. Not sure if you've said anything, but thoughts on new Hunter x Hunter chapter. We could let's react to the Hunter x Hunter chapter too. Can we react to the Hunter x Hunter chapter also? I might do that as well. Okay. All right, here's how the stream's ending. All right, the stream will end with this. First, we'll react to the One Piece episode, like as we're getting towards the end of the stream, right? So maybe around, I don't know, the 9:30 EST mark, I might go react to the One Piece episode, and then after that, react to Hunter x Hunter and close the stream out there, because I am excited about Hunter x Hunter. Lane, thanks for the 5. What would your dream One Piece game be like? The series to me is made for a massive adventure RPG. You can choose between pirate, marine, revolutionary ideas. So it's tricky because, like, I think an open world game would be fun. Everybody said, like, that's what you associate One Piece with. An open world game would be really fun. The tricky thing is that I feel like a lot of the fun of like an open world game is not knowing a lot of the detail, like not knowing what you're gonna see or encounter. So with One Piece, it would be tricky because I think the fun of a One Piece open world game would be you're not allowed to have. How do I put this? because if you arrive on an island, you kind of know what each island is going to be, right? So I think the fun of it would be you're not allowed to have a filled out map. You can't have a filled out map in advance. You kind of need to be sailing island to island, and as you go, the map fills. Shit, did the stream stop? Did the stream cut? I think everything's good. Sorry about that. Everybody here? Yeah. Sorry, I thought the stream cut for a second. Okay. Anyway, I feel like if it would be so how do I say this? I think it would be good if you can hit islands, but you don't know what island you're going to hit till you get there. So I think that's what makes it a bit more fun. So it's kind of like you have different routes that you can go. You kind of got to pick which route, and then you start traveling. You don't know what island is on the horizon next. You get there, and then you realize, oh shit, I've entered Totoland, or I've come across Elbath or something like that. You know, I think that's more interesting. Or more exciting, like, oh fuck, I fucking navigated to Marine Ford like an idiot, and now I'm gonna fucking die. Or like, I've navigated to Hachinosu, and now I'm gonna fucking die. Or navigated to Onigashima or something, and now I'm gonna fucking die. You guys like that shit? Look at that in the background. I think that poster looks fucking phenomenal. The Onigashima one is my favorite of the posters so far. So that might just be me, but once you guys get to see it up close, you guys might share the same opinion. Anyway, not available just yet for the people, but pretty soon. Anyway, I think that open world wise, that would be a lot of fun. I also think that combat would be very important, and like the combat trees of like getting to learn the different levels of hockey depending on where you go, and like maybe on certain islands, like if you hit Amazon Lily, then like you can learn armament hockey or something like that. If you hit Wano, you can learn advanced armament hockey. Like you kind of have to hit certain islands. Like if you hit Skypiea, maybe you can learn observation hockey. I think you kind of got to hit certain islands, and then I think building a reputation, name, stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool. And I think one thing really cool would be if hold on. Harley, out. Harley, no. Out. Yeah. I think stuff like that, and I think one thing that might be fun is like you need crewmates as you go, right? So it could be like if you encounter certain groups, you need to keep building a crew as you go to survive certain group encounters. It kind of reminds me like maybe other games do this, but if you played like Tears of the Kingdom, one thing that I enjoy, and a lot of people said they don't fucking enjoy this. This is one of my favorite aspects of the game, which is that as you complete certain areas, then you have new friends added to your group. So you can be all squatted up where like I could just be traveling around by myself as Link and like if you run into certain large encounter groups of enemies or something like that, it can be difficult solo, especially as the game kind of scales. But if you summon your friends, then you can be walking around with like an archer, a trident user, a fucking Goron bowling ball and stuff. They're just like around you, and you can just be like all squatted up and just traveling through the wilderness, running into random monster hordes, and I don't have to do anything. My subordinates take care of it for me. In the game, I don't think they're my subordinates, they're my friends, but I view them as my subordinates. I don't view it as because I can make them leave if I want them to. They're my medallions. They can just be made to disappear. So they're my subordinates. So I'm just like, hey, I've run into this group of monsters, but if you want to take me out, you have to deal with all the bullshit that I brought along the way, my power of friendship / servitude, right? Yeah, and that lets you save on weapons and stuff. Anyway, Tears of the Kingdom aside, I think I would enjoy that in a One Piece context where, like, maybe even if you're a really strong fighter, right, it's difficult for you to take on other pirate crews by yourself. But once you've got your squad, then you can make those things happen. I think that'd be a lot of fun. JWP, thanks for the 5. The issue is that an actual good open world One Piece game would be like the best and most comprehensive game ever. I mean, ultimately, it needs to come down to the gameplay. Like, the gameplay needs to be really good. If you delivered on all the aspects of what makes One Piece, then yeah, hypothetically, it'd be the best open world game ever. If you could do things like really build a pirate crew, get bounties, like really explore the nitty-gritty of certain towns and things like that, then yeah, it could be the best, most fantastical open world game ever. I think one of the big things that needs to be solved is what to do with sea travel, because I love the Wind Waker, but every time I've gone back to play that again, I'm reminded that the sea travel, it's only good in nostalgic, like the nostalgic version of the Wind Waker in my mind, and then once I'm actually playing it, I'm like, the sea travel fucking sucks. I've heard Assassin's Creed Black Flag does it well or something like that, so maybe that game One Piece can take a page out of its book, but I haven't played it, so I don't actually know. Boyo Guy, thanks for your first super ever. Please read Hunter x Hunter chapter first. It's amazing and recontextualizes the whole arc. Tagashi's writing is leagues above a certain dome-shaped arc. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, listen, I love Hunter x Hunter as much as the next person. I really, really do. On the Manga Morj channel, I actually dropped a video breaking down the current themes of the Hunter x Hunter arc, so I'm curious to see what this chapter opens up, because I think that I've already got a little bit of a breakdown of what the themes are shaping up to be as is on that channel. I'm probably not going to read it first. I appreciate your first super ever. I'm probably going to read it towards the end of the stream, just because this is a stream for One Piece first and foremost. And if you stick around, you will get to the Hunter x Hunter section. I'd rather do that than like start with Hunter x Hunter, then a lot of people leave because that's not their thing. I'd rather keep it One Piece, and then we save the Hunter x Hunter bits for the end once we've covered all the One Piece stuff. Gobbledy Snuts. Welcome to Pirate King tier. Thank you very, very, very much for the support. The Pirate King podcast, unfortunately, it's a bit too late to submit to that for this month, but you will be able to catch this month's Pirate King podcast, or last month's Pirate King podcast, when it comes out tomorrow, so watch out for that. It'll be an hour and a half, and I'll be covering a shit ton of stuff, obviously. Obviously, you can get your submission in for next month, and you get access to all the previous Pirate King podcasts. Thank you very much for the support. Seeking encounters and pirate encounters, yeah, that'd be a good way to do it. That'd be a really good way to do it. I agree, Mr. 9. Yeah, random pirate encounters could be good. I want to talk a little bit about the latest chapter. So, first of all, question. All right, let me ask the people. All right, 1. Are the Straw Hats in Elbaf? Yes, no. It's a straight yes/no question. There's no in between, no ambiguity. Yeah, I don't want to spoil people on Hunter x Hunter either, because some people are Hunter x Hunter fans, but just not caught up. Francisco Mas, thanks for being a Pirate King to your member for 24 months. Hope you enjoy the podcast coming out tomorrow. Hi, Morj. I'm driving, but I have a theory that does not fit in the super. Can I write it in the chat? Please house the shoulder. Yes, of course you can write it in the chat. Of course. Thanks, Francisco Mas. And the shoulder has been good for a long time. Sometimes it still doesn't feel the best, but like in general, it's all good. AZ fan, thanks for the 2. I got a stream prediction right. What do I win? Wait, you got a stream prediction right? Hold on. Did you? I thought I looked last time and I didn't see. Let me see. Was it under LBAF predictions or stream predictions? Or 1128 predictions? Morj 1128 predictions. I thought only Mavahed Sadeghi got it right. Unless you're referring to the LBAF predictions. Interesting. A lot of people don't believe that we're in LBAF, but you're all my viewers, so I could see why you'd have that bias skew. Mr. 9 says no, and I called this before they disappeared. Oda implied he would try to keep Luffy from going. Can you tell me where Oda implied this? I might be fucking imagining things, but am I crazy? I feel like I remember at some point seeing some sort of editor's note or something about like how it'll be hard to get to Elbaf. I might be totally wrong. Sows, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 14 months, and I hope you're looking forward to the podcast that's coming out tomorrow. Morj, I appreciate your enjoyment for shitty, crude ball jokes. I mean, I appreciate it, like, when you're in the flow of streaming, right? Like, you're just reading everything as it goes, so, like, sometimes you're not fully registering, so you gotta catch yourself right before, because it's like, it's kind of like you got me. You're clever, you got me. It's nicely, subtly woven in. Anime Dimension upgraded your membership to Pirate King tier. I feel like you've been Pirate King tier before, so I hope you're looking forward. I feel like I might be wrong, but thank you very, very much for the support. And yeah, just watch out for the podcast that's gonna come out tomorrow. It was in the yearly statement. What did he say? Let's see. One Piece Oda yearly statement. Let's pull this shit up. What is it going to be? Yearly statement 2024? I don't see a fucking yearly statement, man. When does he say this? Is it in his yearly statement for 2023? Oh, my 1128 prediction was that the people in the Lego Village were not giants? Oh, fuck. Fuck, let me see. I'm sorry, man. Did I miss it? Let me see. I might have missed it. Here, hold on. Hold on, everybody. Let's do some detective work here. Doing some detective work. Let's go back to the predictions contest. All right, here's the predictions contest. All right, everybody ready? All right, predictions contest. Here's what I'm seeing. Do we see AZ Fan in here? All the giants we see in the Lego setting are actually other humans like this. Ah! I'm sorry, AZ Fan. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. First of all, we're going to make you mod because you won mod. Second, if anyone sees Mavahed Sadegi, he's supposed to be mod. All right. Everybody say congrats to AZ Fan for correctly calling that that the giants were not giants, but in fact humans. I'm going to make a note for myself that you got to be shouted out in the next chapter review. Hold on. All in good time. All right. All right, AZ Fan, congratulations. Everyone congratulate AZ Fan on being made more moderator and for being correct in his prediction. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Okay, Jumped Festa 20. Okay, March 14th, March X1V, March 14th. Thanks a lot. They should be going to that island. I also considered not taking that route, but I'm not able to stop Luby. Okay. So, I mean, we're gonna get to the island. I think that there's no questions about that. Manny, thanks for the 5. Hey, Mojipoo, have you seen Dandadan episode 1? And are you gonna peep Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? I have seen Dandadan episode 1. So, I think, how do I say this? I don't think there's any episode 1 of pretty much any series, or the only episode 1s in anime in general, the only times an episode 1 really, really captures me is when when the concept is really, really. I like Dandadan episode 1. I thought it was really fun. I'm gonna keep watching it. Okay. I enjoyed that. Right. I just want to frame my thoughts with basically saying that, like, the only reason I'm not over the moon about it is because the only time that an anime episode 1 truly like captures me and I'm like, holy shit, like, what's going on here, is when there's a concept included that the concept alone is really, really mind-boggling and interesting. So, like Attack on Titan, Attack on Titan I actually read before I watched, but yeah, chapter 1 Attack on Titan, I was like, holy shit, what's going on here? I gotta keep reading, right? Similar scenario, Death Note, right? It's like, holy shit, this is a cool concept, gotta keep watching, right? But most traditional series, right, it's gonna be like, I'm not reading Chainsaw Man chapter 1 and being like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, I gotta keep reading it, right? Like, usually any good series, no matter how good it is, in my experience, needs some time to build and get me going, right? So I don't really have too many opinions on Dandadan just yet. The things that stood out to me that I thought are really cool are, one, stylistically fucking phenomenal, right? I don't know if every episode's going to be like that, but it's just, it feels so fresh just watching it. Just that style of animation, the style of the way they use colors, the way they use cuts, editing, etc., framing. Like, it's really fun to watch. It's very poppy. It's just gonna be a lot of fun, right? So love that. Feels very fresh, very vibrant. It's gonna be a pleasure to watch, right? So I understand that, the music choices, all of that, great. I like the two main characters. I mean, I don't love the nerdy guy feels. I think I like their dynamic. I'll say that. I think I like their dynamic. I think I like the female main character better than the nerdy dude so far. I'm sure that there'll be more to see as we go. I view her, I think, a little bit more as the main character, I guess, so far. I don't know if they're supposed to be duo main characters or like she's main character and he's sidekick. I don't know yet. But I do like their dynamic a lot. So I think that's fun. I think the comedy's fun. I think it's like zany and weird, right, which is also going to be enjoyable. But I really have no concept as to what's the main appeal of it just yet, because we're not far enough along, right? The one thing that I'll say is that so my friend who my best friend who watches anime, right, who I got into anime, I've mentioned him a few times, right? He watched that episode before I did, right? And he was telling me that there was a scene that made him extremely uncomfortable, and he thought it was really weird, and he was like, yeah, this is just, he wouldn't have kept watching it if he hadn't heard so much buzz about it, right? And there was that scene in this episode, right? And it was, and I had been thinking, I'm going to show, from everything I'd heard of Dandadan, I was like, oh, this could actually be a fun anime that, like, because I'm trying to get my girlfriend to try different anime. I was like, this could be one that, like, is fun to watch with my girlfriend, right? Luckily, I watched it first myself without bringing her in on it, because the scene that came up felt like a very classic, stereotypical Japanese tentacle porn rape type scene, right? Like one of those with like all of the worst tropes of Japanese anime stuff like thrown in. I'm just like, fuck, like I didn't know it was gonna be like this in the first episode. We dodged a bullet right there. And you could say that this is like, oh, well, Dandadan's approach is more, I don't know, like self-aware or tongue-in-cheek or something, but it's like it's still happening though, so I don't know. Like, so we'll just wait and see if the anime is more of that stereotypical cringe shit like that. I don't know, but I like to believe that all the good things I've heard about it's just that that's not going to be the case. I don't know. Everything else seems really fun. Am I going to peep Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? If it turns out to have like really good fights or something later on. What is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? Is that the new Dragon Ball that's coming out? It's a video game. Never mind. I'm not going to play that. Not going to play that. I'd be more likely to play something like Street Fighter. Because the Dragon Ball games, at least the most recent one, what's the one that came out before this? It had like you call in extra characters to fight with you. I've never liked those type of fighting games. That's just not my thing. Duck20, thanks for the 5. I think this arc is going to go deep into what God is, and somehow Usopp is going to come on top, not Luffy. I don't know. I think it's definitely going to go deep in terms of like the concept of what it means to be a true warrior, because I think that's important for Usopp. Being a god or not being a god, I don't know if Usopp's going to be made into a god or something like that again this arc. I feel like that'd be a little redundant, but it could go into what it means to be a god. Yeah. Mr. 9 says, the giant is too big to be a normal giant and doesn't have the proportions of an ancient giant. The God's Knight was normal sized. Holodeck, Wizard Falls reveal. That's what I'm hoping for, because then I'll say, like, oh, I made a good call, you know? Also, let's get the Streamlabs up to 150 real quick. Ray Chia, thanks for the 2. How did you feel about the new Bleach chapter? I didn't read it. I think. Oh, so I did actually watch the newest Thousand Year Blood War episode, and I fucking loved it. I just love Thousand Year Blood War. It's so much fun to watch. It's insane, and the lot like between this episode and the 3 episodes before it, just a phenomenal run. It's so beautifully done. Like it's just so visually, atmospherically, the imagery, the art direction. It's my favorite. Like, just for the pure visual stylistic experience, Thousand Year Blood War is actually my favorite anime. I think. Yeah. I think, honestly, might be the case. Maybe Demon Slayer for different purposes, but I just love the imagery and the sort of surreal vibe that you get at different points in Thousand Year Blood War. It's a lot of fun. And I've shit on Bleach for so long. Like, it's not like... like, the fact that I'm enjoying the presentation of how they're doing everything and the direction of it so much to the point that, like, it makes me ignore how much I thought Bleach was dumb towards its end. I think that's really impressive. I think that's like a testament to how good it is. So I haven't read the latest Bleach chapter. I'm probably not going to read Bleach for some time. If I do, from what I recall, Bleach chapters are fucking short as fuck. Nothing really happens in Bleach chapters. I'm just going to let them pile up and maybe read them down the line. Because I remember there was a period of time where young Morj coming home from school, excited because it's manga day. There's 2 manga days, I remember. There's 2 manga days a week. There was one day, these were the 5 series I read at the time. Wait, who wants to guess in my prime of my youth, young high school Morj, there were 5 manga that I would read. I think I mentioned them on stream before. There were 5 manga that I would read weekly. As time went on, I would start adding more manga to the repertoire, like Attack on Titan and stuff like that. But initially, there were 5 shonen manga that I would read weekly. The hint is 2 of them came out on the same day, and then 3 of them came out on another day. Who wants to guess? God damn it. Why is the stream, like, it seems like it's freezing up for me, but it's not for you guys, so I guess that's a good thing. Who wants to guess? Who wants to guess all 5? If somebody guesses all 5 in their first attempt, if you guess all 5 in your first attempt, then without me giving any hints, then I'll just make you mod. That's the only thing I can do. You got to guess all 5 in the first attempt. I'm seeing some correct things already. I feel like people might not get the last one. All right, we'll drop it. I think no one's going to get it. All right. Naruto, it is correct. Naruto, One Piece, Bleach. Then Fairy Tail was 4th. It's the 5th one. Can anyone guess what the 5th one is? The 5th one came on the same day as Fairy Tail. So I'd have my Naruto, Bleach, One Piece day, and then I'd have my Fairy Tail and this other manga day. This is a more niche one. There we go. Hazard and Gibson got it correct. Kenichi. History's strongest disciple, Kenichi. Yeah. It was, because I think I read it on the site Manga Reader, and so I was biased a lot based on what Manga Reader would put at the top of their popular manga thing, towards the top of it. I think it was called Manga Reader, I forget. And yeah, you'd see Kenichi and Fairy Tail towards the top anytime they came out, and then you'd see One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto towards the top anytime they came out. Yeah, so I'd have my, like, it'd be nice, because I think if I recall correctly, Fairy Tail and Kenichi came out earlier in the week, and I didn't care as much about them. I didn't think they were as good. But I'd tune in, I'd read them, and that'd be like a small manga fix for the week. And then a couple days later, then One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto would come out, and then I'd get like my big 3 fix. I think for some time I wasn't even reading Naruto, so it was just 4 manga. Then eventually I added Naruto to the roster, right? So One Piece and Bleach were a great little combo, because like Bleach was like really short, right? Like it was a quick little snippet of a chapter, and then One Piece was really long. So you get kind of like this quick to the point little appetizer, and then you get like the main course. So I always enjoyed that. I like the combo. And One Piece and Bleach are generally pretty different style. So that was fun to read. Anyway, so my second question is that sun god a holy knight? Yeah, Manga Stream, I think, replaced Manga Reader. I don't remember the exact order. I think it's entirely possible that it's not that Holy Knight. I'm just going to say I think it's entirely possible it's not that Holy Knight, obviously, right? Obviously very, very possible. I just didn't like the argument that I saw a lot of people making, which was that, like, it can't be the same person because the horns are different. I'm just like, the horns are different. Like, how many fucking other characters do we know with, like, a long skull-shaped fucking animal mask? It's just fucking 2. And the character was from, the Holy Knight was from fucking 40 years ago, right? Like, if you want to make the argument that, it doesn't fit because, the sun god is, like, a giant and then the Holy Knight is human size, that's totally fine. But arguing it based on the horns, like, it's disqualified because I'm like, that's fucking insane to me. This was fucking 40 years ago, its design, and we barely got a glimpse of it. And you're saying that, like, everything else matches. The fucking skull is the same. The long skull with the lines and, like, the animal look and everything like that. And it's got horns. That's all the same. But it can't be the same because the horns are different. It's like, he couldn't have fucking swapped the mask in a 40-year time span? You think he's been fucking wearing the same fucking deer mask for the last 40 years? You don't think it gets musty or smelly? No, he's got to wear the same mask for the same 40 years? I'm like, I don't think that disqualifies it. To me, that's like saying, like, we saw Blackbeard pre-time skip and Blackbeard post-time skip. Well, Blackbeard post-time skip. Oh, wait, this guy's got a beard and he's wearing a hat. It can't be the same fucking character. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, the characters change so much in their design just, like, in 2-year time spans. This is a fucking 40-year time span. Everything else is fucking similar. The horns are slightly different. You think that completely disqualifies the possibility? That's just insane to me. That was what blew my mind. I was like, if you want to argue that it could just be Oda reusing a similar design, or, like, it just doesn't make sense because, like, one's giant, one's little, whatever, like, that's fine. But to pretend that it's just a drastically different design, and not obviously the single most similar design that we've seen to the Sun God in the entire story, that's kind of insane. It's like, no, these two greatly look fucking similar. That was weird to me. I was just like, are people really, like, fucking look at Sengoku now versus Sengoku way back then. Look at Garp now versus, like, everybody's fucking changed characters. They change outfits. They wear different shit. If anything, the fact that this dude is still wearing a fucking animal mask potentially is, like, about as similar as it gets across 40 years. I think that was kind of insane. I was like, there's so many different ways you can argue against this, but arguing against the horns being slightly different? Like, understand this. Literally 1 chapter ago, people were arguing that it's not even the same fucking, it's not even the real Luffy, because Oda, like, within the same chapter, Oda changed, like, random details of, like, is Luffy wearing a shield or sword or hat or whatever, like, a bunch, right? If Oda's fucking that shit up in the same fucking chapter to the point that people are like, it's an illusion, it's all fake, then you think that maybe Oda might not have paid, like, 100% detail to, like, the exact same horns or antlers, or he might not have given a shit across 40 years for this character? I don't know. Again, that's not to say that the theory is correct. I'm just like, this is a stupid reason to, like, 2 things can be true. It can be a stupid theory, right? That's possible. But you can also have a shitty, stupid argument for trying to disprove that theory. That's also possible. Stong says you can't even see the horns properly in the Holy Knights panel since it's blocked by speech bubbles. Yeah. Morpheus Christos says, I think it's just bad writing. Wouldn't it be bad drawing? Wouldn't it be poor drawing? Morpheus Christos, I missed your previous one, I'm sorry. Morpheus Christos, thanks for the 666. Hey man, I hate to be that guy, but these latest One Piece chapters have been ass. I can't tell what the hell is going on anymore. No, man, man, I feel bad for Oda, man. No offense to you, but I feel bad for Oda because, like, he just writes this really big, dramatic arc, Egghead Island. Maybe you didn't like those chapters, I don't know. But the chapters in between, most people really enjoyed, right? Like Garland being promoted to Gorosei, Shanks and Bartolomeo, the Blackbeard pirate scene. People really enjoyed those chapters from what I can recall. And so you're Oda, you do all this stuff, you write this crazy, chaotic arc, Egghead Island. Big speech, framing all the crazy hype shit that's going to happen in the final saga. You cut away to outside world events, set up some major players, all of this stuff that gets people really excited. And then it's like, okay, well, now I have to start a new arc, right? Got to start a new arc. I have to take a little bit of the story segment to not do crazy hype stuff. It's kind of got to be some basic stuff, right? I gotta do a little bit of setup. As soon as I do like a little bit of a breather space where it's just characters interacting, the Straughts, you know, like old times, talking to each other, having jokes and stuff like that, light, simple, just for 2.5 chapters, 2 chapters and 1 page, basically, right? Really, just 2 chapters. If I do 2 chapters of that, now people are upset and saying that they don't even know, like, this is ass, right? I don't know. Like, as an author, that's got to be difficult because it's just like you need those breaks in the story and you need to let the characters breathe and let things kind of set up. You just have to have it. But then it's kind of like as soon as you do it, you risk losing some people's interest. And that's fine because you can be in it for certain things. But I don't know. This is just treat it as, I don't think this is One Piece being asked. Just treat it as like this being a required part of the story before we can get to more exciting things. Oh, Rachia says, I meant episode, not chapter. There's not a chapter. Oh, I thought that maybe you were referencing like maybe a new chapter of like the Hell arc or something had come out. Yeah, I love the new Bleach episode. I thought it was phenomenal. I don't mind saying spoilers because Bleach has been out for so long. I thought the way that they did Ichibe's Bankai was really cool. I still think no matter how much polishing up that they do of like Thousand Year Blood War and how much more artistically cool they make it seem, it can't fix like stupid writing shit. So like the, you know, Bleach... Bleach just can't, Bleach is just the epitome of the edgy, cool anime shonen style writing, which is just like, you thought this, but in reality, like, all of Yuha and Ichibe's fight, and Gotai 13, and, because I rewatched the entire, the 3 episodes, right? I skipped a few little bits, but I rewatched the entire 3 episodes before it, and this episode, and it's just like, the entire fight is just so peak Bleach writing that's being saved by the beauty of its animation, art direction, atmosphere, music, all of that, right? But it's just like, aha, you thought this, but in fact, this bullshit. Oh, that bullshit, that's perfectly countered by this bullshit. Oh, you're being way too smug, because in reality, the truth is this bullshit. And then, oh, well, you thought that bullshit. Well, let me tell you this long-ass monologue about 900 years and then 999 days or some shit and then 9.5 hours or some shit. And now in the 9th minute of the 9th second or some shit, this shit happens. Oh my god, that shit. Fuck. It's just like, it's just this, it's so fucking... It's so like, aha, you activated my trump card, but you activated my trump card, and like, you activated my trump card, and you think that's the trump card? Whoa. Well, I had a whole other extra deck of trump cards. Oh, you only brought 1 extra deck of trump cards. Well, I bought a full fucking store of trump cards. Oh, well, it turns out that your trump card was actually my trump card all along, and I just gave you that trump card. Oh, fuck. Well, I'm just fucked then, huh? And the thing is, it wouldn't be that bad if not for each one of those being accompanied by some really fucking smug-ass long speech. Some 14-year-old style, like, anime master villain monologue, right? Only to be trumped by the next anime master villain monologue, only to be trumped by the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, until finally it's like, all right, how many more do these we got to get through? All right, that was the last one. All right, so then this guy wins. Gotcha. We got through it. Bleach's writing, it will forever be comical, but it's so beautifully produced that it's just too much fun not to watch. Yeah, Sun God, a Holy Knight, 50-50 toss-up amongst viewers. JWP, thanks for the 5. The mask is insanely unique, and we haven't seen anything remotely like it in One Piece except for the God's Knight. Is it actually just a coincidence? It might be, because this is not the first time that Oda has had... Like, there were random orphans in, like, the Luffy Ace Sabo flashback, whose visual design was very similar, I believe, to Underworld Brokers that came up later on, right? So there's random callbacks that Oda will do that don't really mean anything, right? Even the kids that Big Mom seemingly ate, they had similar designs, people said, to, like, CP0 agents. Things like that happen. The one thing that I'd say is different with this is that the Holy Knights are, like... It's one thing for Oda to call back on previous designs that he's done and never explain why. The difference is, like, this isn't calling back to, like, random orphan or, like, random kids in, like, Luffy, Ace, and Sabo's, like, flashback or whatever that were never named. The Holy Knights are significant figures, right? Figarland Garling is the only Holy Knight that we know. And then the second most prominent Holy Knight that we saw is that dude. Simply because of design, that character stands out the most, right? we're still waiting to find out about these Holy Knights. We know that they're set to be very important in the story, right? So with that in mind, I think that it's less likely that this is just a random outfit similarity that like we've had before, because these are already supposed to be significant characters, right? Oda calling back on, like, when Oda's designing Underworld Brokers, and if he thinks for whatever reason that, oh, it's funny for me to reuse a design that I used for, like, random unnamed kids in Luffy's flashback, that's one thing, because those kids aren't important and the Underworld Brokers aren't important, right? That's very different from, okay, well, the Holy Knights are important. We know that we're going to see more of that character at some point, that Holy Knight. It's got a unique design for a reason. And now we just got this Sun God, who's a very important character in the current modern-day story, who seems remarkably similar design-wise to that other guy. That makes it less likely to be random, because the Holy Knight designs, when Oda initially came up with them, those are things that he's thinking about, you know? That's my only thought. Morpheus Christos, thanks a lot. Also, don't you think it's weird that Luffy literally became a god before becoming Pirate King? When you phrase it like that, it makes it sound it does make it sound like a jump. At the end of the day, Luffy's true purpose is bringing Dawn of the World. Becoming Pirate King is actually just it's like Luffy's carrot on a stick for getting him to do the more important thing, which is bringing Dawn of the World, right? The Pirate King is a thing that, as we're learning now more and more, it's something that's only really mattered in the last 20 years, whereas becoming the next Joy Boy, bringing the Dawn, that's something that's mattered for the last 800 years, right? Luffy becoming a god, I get what you're saying there. I do get what you're saying there. It is kind of a dramatic sort of jump. It is a dramatic sort of jump. It's just that it's just the way the story's framed is like being the incarnation of the sun god Nika. It's still a step towards the resolving of the true conflict of One Piece. It's just that becoming Pirate King is what matters to Luffy more, right? So it's not really becoming Sun God Nika isn't really what matters. Becoming Pirate King is what matters. In becoming Pirate King, he will fulfill the role that he is supposed to as the Sun God Nika. Yeah, I think that it is a weird way when you phrase it like that, but it's just it's the way shit goes. I think the fact that he's not the strongest character in One Piece, like, things matter. Like, I think you could argue, like, isn't it weird that Luffy became a Pirate Emperor before he became Pirate King, right? I don't think the titles matter as much. At the end of the day, we know that Pirate King is what matters the most in this world, right? Like, Luffy became a sun god, but he is still not stronger than several other pirate characters in the story. Knut Worgen, thanks for the 10. In just one chapter, I'm completely hooked back onto Hunter x Hunter. The new development completely recontextualizes the Succession War, but also builds on the theme so well. These next few months will be wild. I'm actually very, very excited to read this chapter then, because I wasn't so hot on Hunter x Hunter. I love the boat arc in general. I fucking love the boat arc. I started to feel less interested in it when we started delving into the lower levels. Maybe it's just because it's the exposition phase, but I did not think that the lower levels were... When we started really getting to the nitty-gritty of the lower levels, I started to feel like maybe Tagashi's bitten off more than he can chew. But if it can kind of get some more... tying together of things with this chapter, I'd be really excited. Plus, he's had a lot of time to think about it, so, I'm sure it'll be good. JWP, thank you for the 10, man. Holy shit. Thanks for so much support, man. A lot of people caught up during the Onigashima raid. Since then, it was rooftop into post-Wano stuff, into Egghead, all fast-paced with a ton of action, not ready for an arc beginning nonsense. Yeah, a lot of people have never had to deal with that. Like, the closest we had was... Even in the beginning chapters of Egghead, we would cut away to shit like Law versus Blackbeard and stuff like that. Then there was a stretch of chapters in Egghead which was pretty tame in terms of what was going on, but it led into a bunch of crazy outside world shit, and then obviously the Egghead raid, which was exciting. Niranjan Pandit, thanks for the 2. Don't you think Luffy's using Gear 5 too frequently? Now I'm beginning to feel like Oda just always wanted to draw Luffy like this. And I think Oda's happy that just the final saga... I really do believe that the Gear 5th concept was, like, I think working backwards, it makes more sense to me. Like, I don't think Gear 5th was initially thought of as Gear 5th. I think when Oda is thinking up of his story and his protagonist, my assumption is that like he always really liked the idea of like a comical fighter. Like a lot of his interview quotes and things like that seem to suggest that he always really liked the idea of this comical tune-based fighter that does this sort of wacky using manga powers essentially and fighting in that style. I think that was Oda's original concept for the character. But then when you're writing the story, he realized that's too difficult to write from the beginning and too strong for a character. So he's like, okay, the character can become this, gain this ability later on, but initially let me tone it down by saying, well, he just has like a more one-dimensional version of that, which is rubber powers. I feel like Oda started with this concept of what he wanted to draw, because it makes more sense that like this is the fantastical concept for what you want your hero to be like to begin with, and then you realize you have to nerf them originally, so then you tone them down to what Luffy is for the majority of the series, which is a rubber fighter. Then the story gets longer and longer, right? So it is like, okay, so it's still a long ways away actually before I can get to this fantastical concept that I really want to draw and write, right? But I need to make my character keep getting stronger. So then Oda kind of, like, I don't think Oda planned out gears all along. It just was kind of like, okay, well, I need to start improving Luffy's use of the rubber powers without getting him to that point just yet, right? So then maybe Oda came up with, like, gear 2nd, gear 3rd, then even gear 4th and stuff once he started thinking more clearly about hockey, right? But I think the end goal was always that. I don't think he initially thought of that as gear 5th or whatever. That was just what he wanted to draw Luffy as, most likely from the beginning. So it's kind of like the gears became what padded out the story for Luffy in terms of his power-ups to get to that. And then that just ended up being gear 5th at the end of the day is what he called it. So it nicely rounded out. But because I assume that that's kind of just, again, from interviews, lots of small hints, etc., that's how Oda always wanted to be able to write his hero. This, like, cartoon fighter with all these, like, zany comedy powers, right? Now that we're at a stage where he can have Luffy fight like that, I don't think we're going to see the gears as much. I just don't, because at the end of the day, I really believe that everything Luffy did up till now was things that Oda kind of had to think up in between to pad out Luffy's growth before he got there, right? But now that we're there, the gears and all of that stuff, it was just the, I don't want to say filler, but it was basically the stuff that he had to come up with before he could get to the meat of what he wanted to draw. Now that we're at the meat of what he wanted to draw, it's kind of like we're going to stick with that, right? So in terms of is he having Luffy use Gear 5 too frequently, I think if we look at it through a power scaling lens of how this dilutes the importance of Gear 5th, sure, you could argue that. But I think at the same time, if we just accept it as like, well, Luffy doesn't really need his gears anymore. He can just fight like this, and this is what he has the most fun fighting in. I think that that's a freeing way to look at it. Haha. Also, let's get the Streamlets up to 200 because we're almost there. Francisco Mas, thanks a lot. Hey, Morj, here's the theory. Hope you like it. Okay. You said that you would write it in chat. Let's see here. Okay. He wrote it here. Hold on. Here, let's share it for the people. All right, hold on. All right, so this is what Francisco Mas shared. Theory, the Straughts are in Elbaf. Okay, the Straughts are in Elbaf. The guy in the reading scroll is the man marked by flames and also a former God Knight. He is the holder of the last road poneglyph. I believe he went rogue for the world government and escaped with the poneglyph. He is in Elbaf, but does not live with the giants. He's like an outcast who reclused himself, secluded himself, and lives aside from society. Maybe traumatized by the horrors of God Valley, he chose to steal the poneglyph and keep it away from the government. That's interesting. That's why he has a mini Elbaf replica, because he can't live with the rest of them and is lonely. That's interesting. I don't think the villain will be him. I think it's some other God's Knights who will track him and confront him during the arc. I also feel like we're in Elbaf because Usopp has to go there, and it would overcomplicate things if he isn't. So I think that's very, very possible, and it blends kind of the things that I'm already thinking, right? But just adds in the piece that they are in Elbaf already. And it assumes that this guy is the man marked by flames. Maybe he is because we don't see his face, right? The one thing is I feel like even if we're not in Elbaf, I think we will get there soon. I think a lot of people, when they heard the theory that, oh, we're not in Elbaf, felt like, wait, if we're not in Elbaf, that's bullshit. We should be getting the Elbaf arc. I think this is the start of the Elbaf arc. It's just there's a little bit of situation to get through that sets up maybe the conflict of the arc before we actually physically get there, if that makes sense. So that's an interesting idea. and it does blend some things. At the end of the day, look, maybe we might be overthinking it, and maybe at the end of the day, it's just like things are much more straightforward and simple. We are an Elbaf. We just got captured by this dude, and that's pretty much it. Morpheus Christos, thanks a lot. Finally, do you think Garland, and thanks a lot for the support today, Morpheus, I appreciate it. Do you think Garling is a better swordsman than Mihawk? If so, doesn't that contradict Zora's dream to become world's greatest swordsman? No, I don't think Garling is a better swordsman than Mihawk. I do not think that. I'll go so far as to say this. I think that I'm just going to assume that if you don't have a black blade, you are not a better swordsman than Mihawk. That's my assumption. All right? I hope that can make Mihawk fans happy. I believe that is the case. I believe if you don't have a black blade, you're not a better swordsman than Mihawk. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I also think that, well, okay, if fucking Green Bull turns out to have a black blade, like some people joke / seriously argue, which could be the case. I don't fucking know. I don't think it's the case, right? Green Bull having a black blade. Green Bull, we joke about Mihawk painting his blade black. Green Bull would have painted his blade black, guaranteed, if he actually has a black blade. But yeah, I think that if you don't have a black blade, you're probably not a better swordsman than Mihawk. Dick so small, piss on the balls, thanks for the 2. He's got to exercise Gear 5th to condition himself to it. Yeah, there's a solid argument for that. I used to think that was the case with Gear 4th, and that the more frequently Luffy used Gear 4th, the better he would be at just like using it and not running out of energy. And then, because he started using it more and more frequently, especially in the Wano arc. And then fast forward to the fucking rooftop, and Luffy's all drained and shit again against Kaido after using Gear 4th, like in the first like 4 chapters on the rooftop. He uses Gear 4th for like 1 chapter on the rooftop, like 1 or 2 chapters on the rooftop, and then next time we see him, he's all drained. And I'm just like, God damn it! So he didn't get better at it. I personally have I've committed to the theoretical possibility that Luffy will never overcome his Gear 5th stamina issue, and that it's just a necessary nerf to the ability. And I like to believe that Luffy's final fight with Emu, with Blackbeard, whoever it may be, will involve Sanji having the, like, I would love to see Sanji just like cooking constant food to fuel his captain. I would love to see that. That would be such a cool scene to see, and it would just like cement Sanji's significance so well in the story. Like, it would be the best Sanji scene in the entire story. Like, just imagine that. Like, literally, the importance of food to Luffy, the importance of Sanji's worth to his captain, all of that coming together in that literally Luffy needs a continuous supply of food to keep fighting, and Sanji can just be cooking it up nonstop the entire way through. I would love to see that. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think it would be a really fun idea. If Green Bull has I'm just gonna say, if Green Bull has a fucking black blade, then the black blade argument, it doesn't matter. Either Green Bull painted it, or having a black blade literally does not matter. It's irrelevant. But I don't think Green Bull has a. Does Green Bull have a black blade? Let me ask the people. Do we have an official coloring? Shueisha usually knows this shit. Let's take a look. No, we're not actually at a point where Green Bull's made his appearance in the story just yet in the colored manga. Central 99 says Sanji just be cooking her, L guy. No, he does. Sanji should still get another fight. He should still get other shit. I'm saying that his final contribution would be cooking. That's fine. That's cool. You know, that's better than not doing anything. Central 99 says Green Bull is the worst admiral of all time. I concur. Fujitora does not have a black blade as far as we've seen. As far as I can recall. All right. So I mean, we've covered basically the main things of this chapter, right? Do we think that we've covered? Do we think that it, like? Does anybody have any other interesting ideas about what the scenario could be? Because otherwise, we're just gonna find out this next chapter. And I do want to do this episode reaction, and I would like to read Hunter x Hunter. Normally, I'm not going to do regular Hunter x Hunter reactions on stream, but I'm a little excited for it, and I kind of want to read it, just because I kind of forgot about it. Blackbeard loses because he doesn't have enough cherry pies while Luffy keeps having food cooked for him. I would like that. Does Blackbeard even have a good chef on his crew? I don't think so, right? Tengai Shinsei says, why is the discussion so late, or am I tweaking? You're not tweaking. Normally it happens on the day the chapter comes out. This weekend, I had to go out of town for a wedding. So I was really fucking banking on the chapter coming out on Thursday like usual. The chapter did not come out on Thursday. It came out on Friday. Because it came out on Friday, I was really trying to find space to squeeze in a stream. There was no time. If I did, it would have had to have been like a 30-minute or an hour-long stream, which I don't think you guys would have truly enjoyed. So I didn't do it Friday, and I was just like, okay, let me try and find time Saturday. Did not find time Saturday because, you're on a road trip heading for the wedding, etc. There's no time once we hit the hotel. There's no time after the wedding. There's no time Sunday because we're getting back. And by the time I got back Sunday night, we were just fucking exhausted as fuck, right? So it had to get kicked to today. So I'm sorry about that. It's not going to be the norm. Gobble D Snuts, thanks for the 2. Are you going to see Megalopolis? Coppola was cooking. Coppola, I don't know how you fucking say it. I've heard a lot of negative things about that movie, but I'm not going to watch it. I think that's a for sure no. Did anyone see Look Back? And if you've seen Look Back, is it worth watching? I have not read the one-shot. Should I read Look Back one-shot first, or should I watch the movie first? Like, is the movie so good if an adaptation that I don't feel like I'm missing anything from the manga? Morpheus Christos, thanks a lot. Mark my words, Elbaf will be the final nail in the coffin for One Piece. I personally disagree, Morpheus, but it depends on what people value in One Piece. Like, if there's certain things that are missing, because I think one thing that a lot of people felt was missing from Egghead was, like, Stride interactions, Stride focus, right? But I'm seeing that in Elbaf at the very start. We're getting a lot of Stride interactions, Stride focus. So I don't know what you're feeling is missing as much right now, but, people drop off a series all the time for various reasons. The Final Storm, thanks for the 5. What if Yuruj is led astray following the false sun god for salvation and eventually believes in Luffy when he sees Gear 5th? Not likely, but a thought. I think it's entirely possible, also because Yuruj, from the things that we can tell, he's got, like, Sky Island connections. He seems to have maybe some spiritual aspect to him. There could be a lot of, like, he could be a buccaneer for all... No, he can't be a buccaneer. I'm sorry, that was fucking stupid. There could be more to him. I also think the simple fact that Yuruj has been saved for later on could be significant because we saw what happened with, like, as it turned out, several of the supernova that were brought up earlier on, like Kid and Law, we always knew are a big deal. So put Kid and Law in their own category. Out of the other miscellaneous supernova, right? Hawkins, Apu, Drake, Capone Beige, Bonnie, Yuruj, stuff like that, right? As it turned out, the ones that we took care of earlier on were not as significant. Capone Beige turned out to be a major player in the Whole Cake Island arc itself, but it doesn't seem like he's significant in the grand scheme of things. Hawkins, not significant in the grand scheme of things. X-Drake, seemingly not that significant. Apu, not significant, right? Like, they were just all whatevers, right? Bonnie was one that was being saved for a while. And then once Bonnie's story comes out, it's like, holy shit, this was actually tied into the most dramatic story in all of One Piece. Like, the Bonnie Kuma entire story is, like, really fucking important and, like, one of the best storylines Oda's ever thought up of. And he really, really fucking saved that to have its own spotlight and focus in the Egghead arc, right? Yuruj, interestingly, I didn't think much of him at all pre-time skip. I would never have predicted that Yuruj would be one of the more important supernovas. But Oda's been saving him, right? The only times we've seen him are, like, we've heard of him are obviously the Whole Cake incident where he actually defeated a Sweet Commander, which is like, oh, why is Yuruj getting this hype? And then 2, we saw him, like, briefly on a Sky Island right before Kaido showed up, and it's like, okay, so what is Oda saving Yuruj for? Because you could easily throw Yuruj into the Wano arc and just dispose of him if he's not important, the same way Apu is no longer important, Hawkins is, whatever. If Yuruj isn't important to the story, he could have been done away with pretty easily in the Wano arc, right? He's, like, right there. He's, like, right by the scene of the crime. He's one panel away from the Kid, Hawkins, Apu group in that whole chapter 795 Kaido incident, right? He could have just been added into that alliance and then been wiped out with the rest of them, right? But Oda's saving Iruj, which makes me excited for the potential of the character. Dan A is saying Iruj has some kind of knowledge of the Void Century? Maybe. Kingdom Vices, why no Water Arc analysis? I fucking swear to God, I'm trying to finish it. Every time that I think I'm close to, like, getting a day to just work on it, some shit happens. Like, I thought I'd be able to finish it Friday, before heading out for the wedding. That was actually my goal. And then, at least finishing, like, the writing of it. And then everything spilled over from the previous day. Got to get out the chapter's not out. So then suddenly I'm writing the video for this week. On Friday, I'm getting out that we're not at Elbaf theory on Friday. Like, that whole day just gets taken up, right? Things just happen. I promise it's close, and I do want to just be done with it, I swear. Yokai Gota says, people want the supernova to be more prevalent, but the second any of them get some focus, the fans bitch and moan about the Straw Hats not getting screen time. Oda can't win, LMAO. It's just complicated because it's like, it's ultimately on the author for not having, like, if you set up a story with so many fucking side characters, then it's like, I don't think it's readers' fault for, like, bitching and moaning that, like, okay, like, it's on the author to have thought out how are you incorporating all of these characters, right, in a way that everybody's still getting their due, right? Because that's why that's why most stories don't have a shit ton of side characters. Like, they don't just throw in characters after characters, right? Because the idea is, well, you only have so much focus to go around, so if you're adding in a shit ton of characters, then that means that you, the author, have thought of a way to balance all of this, right? If you just throw in a shit ton of characters, and then it's like, well, I'm focusing on the side characters, how can you complain that I'm not focusing on the main characters? It's like, dude, you're the one that put in all these characters. If you didn't have a way to balance it, then you shouldn't have put in all these other characters, you know? That's my thought process on it. I think that's fair. I think there's other series you can point to, like, another example that I bring up frequently when it comes to these discussions is, like, fucking Black Clover. As cliche and generic shonen-y as it is, and it's not even close to One Piece in terms of writing in most categories, right? The one thing that Black Clover does phenomenally well is it does keep adding lots and lots of side characters to its main cast, and somehow the author, pretty much every single arc, he's able to move all of the characters forward in some way, and he's thought of, like, character arcs and bits of character development for the majority of his cast, pretty much every single arc. And if it's not literally every single arc, it's generally no more than one or two arcs that characters are going without their stories being progressed in some way, or some character focus in some way, or some moment, or some fight, or something, right? So I think that's remarkably impressive. And again, there's not that much depth to Black Clover's writing, but he's doing it right in terms of checking off the basics of, like, if you have a big cast with a ton of characters, right, you have to have an idea of how you want to write these characters in all of the following arcs and, like, planned out storylines for them, because you don't get the excuse of, like, well, don't get mad at me for not thinking of character development for, like, 50% of my characters, because, like, there's so many characters to deal with. Motherfucker, there's so many characters to deal with because you put in all the characters. Don't put in all the characters if you don't have an idea of what to do with them. It's kind of like fucking, people complain about the Game of Thrones stories, like, books never being finished, right? It's like, well, because the plot lines have become too convoluted, and there's just too much going on, and how do I tie it all together? It's like, George R. R. Martin, look, with all due respect, you put in all these plot lines, so you shouldn't be putting in all these plot lines if you hadn't thought out how the plot lines are supposed to connect together and fit together at the end of the day, right? So that's not really an excuse in my book. I'm not expecting the Straws to get good writing every single arc, but when you're comparing what it was like pre-time skip to post-time skip, and it's like, damn, you can go, like, arc after arc after arc without, like, this Straw Hat or that Straw Hat getting, like, even a shred of something, then there's something going on, right? That I think could be fixed. And it's like, if instead you're defaulting to writing in, like, well, what if we had 9 scabbards? Even though I started with 4 in my mind in my concept art, let's stretch it to 9. And here's Hyogoro the Flower and Shinobu. And here's like the 5 mafia heads that work under Hyogoro. And here's here's Momonosuke has a sister, and she's not that important and kind of fucks with the themes of the arc, but she's here. And here's like fucking like it's just at what point is it like too like why like how much at what point is it diminishing returns? It's like, well, what did you think of like for fucking half the Strahd crew for this arc? It's like nothing. But I thought of a bunch of other nothing for all these characters too. So now we've got like a bunch of random bullshit. I don't know. I think that's fair to critique. So I saw something about Look Back. I want to see what they were saying. Something about Fujimoto's one-shots. What was being said? Did I miss it? Nah, it's too late. It's too late. It's gone now. What were people saying about Look Back? Did anyone see Look Back? What did people say about Look Back? No, did anyone say anything about Look Back? Alright, I don't know. I'll probably just read Look Back first. I'll read Look Back before watching it, I think. Okay. Morpheus Christos says, why didn't Kuma die after Egghead? Okay, while I think Egghead would have been the perfect arc for him to go out in some sort of sacrificial manner because the dramatic momentum, the story's entirely focused on him. There's so much dramatic momentum going from his backstory into his return, into saving Bonnie, into getting to see Luffy be the Luffy as Nika and his own daughter play the role of Nika and everything like that, and kind of closing out all his entire story. Even though I think that there's so much, it would be best if things closed out for him right there. Here is my cope as to why Kuma was not written to die in Egghead. Here's my cope. My cope follows as such, all right? I still believe that the paw fruit will end up in the hands of somebody else, maybe Vivi or some shit, as I theorized long back. I hope that that's the case, and that's why Kuma's death is being saved for some other moment where maybe Vivi or some other character who's supposed to inherit the Nikyu no Mi is around, and that's what it's being saved for. My greatest fear is Lilith or somebody fucking fixing Kuma's brain and Kuma living happily ever after, and none of it really, I don't know. Duck20, thanks for the 10. I think you're looking at Black Clover with an outside view. If you actually go into the community, a lot of people complain about the captains of Black Bull characters not getting their spotlight. So I think that that's definitely possibly the case as of the more recent arc, because I haven't read the most recent arc. However, and I think that also the Spade Kingdom arc in particular, it was not the best for the Black Bulls. I think the most recent arc, I don't know. I don't know about the most recent arc, what's going on. I think the Spade Kingdom arc was weaker, right? However, if you go back through previous Black Clover storylines, it was kind of remarkable how the author was consistently able to keep writing these side characters and having them always be relevant in some way or getting their moments in some way. I think the Elf arc was very, very impressive because I was like, this is like a cast of fucking 20 characters that he's built at this point, like between the main cast and all the side characters and everything. And a lot of them are everybody seems to be getting fights and highlight moments, and a lot of them seem to be getting multiple fights and highlight moments. And a lot of these are characters that have had like 5 or 6 different points of major character development over the course of arcs preceding this. I think Spade Kingdom is where you could argue things start getting like a little bit difficult. And I agree that there's several captains that don't get their shine in Spade Kingdom, but a lot of the characters do. And I think a large part of that is like he started incorporating characters from the Heart Kingdom, and I think he had maybe reached his peak in terms of how many characters he could handle. But I do think the Spade Kingdom was still good for a lot of the side characters. I think the current arc is where I could definitely see, because there's a whole extra bunch of side characters being added. The current arc is where I could definitely see some more issues taking place. Isis1155, thanks for the 2. The problem with Oda is he develops in chunks. That's fine, because everybody kind of, like, authors with lots of characters have to do that. Like, even the Black Clover, like, as I was talking about, like, it's not like I'm expecting Noelle to grow every single arc, but there's clearly lots of points of development for Noelle planned in this arc, then 2 arcs down the line, then another 2 arcs, etc., right? The thing with Oda is that I think the chunks are too far apart, right? Like, when was Frankie's last chunk? Like, the development takes place over really long periods of time, right? Like, Usopp, it's great that he's about to get a really good arc in Elbaf, most likely. Elbaf's clocking in around, chapter 1120 something, it's starting, right? And Dressrosa closed out by chapter 800. So that's 320 chapters of nothing for Usopp, right? And Usopp's like the 4th most significant character in One Piece, right? Top 5 at the very least, right? And that's 310 chapters of nothing happening for Usopp. So a simple point of comparison is that's all of Jujutsu Kaisen, right? That's essentially an entire manga's worth of Usopp not being a character at all, right? Isn't that kind of crazy to think about in that sense? It's essentially like Oda wrote an entire manga's worth of story where Usopp is I have no problems with if you're like extricating the character and they're not there for that period of time in the story, right? That's whatever. That just happens, right? But it is weird to me when you're having the character be there and be an active participant in the plot and actually doing things in the plot. Like, Usopp's assigned to do shit and he participates in random shit, but he's not. It's like he's in NPC mode. It's like he will say generic lines of dialogue. He won't really have any sort of meaningful growth or change or introspection or anything like that. And he will have no notable moments that go to him they go deeper than anything surface level, right? He's essentially in NPC mode for like 300 plus chapters. That is kind of insane when you consider that many manga aren't even 300 chapters long, right? So it's an entire manga's worth of him being in NPC mode. I think that's not good to me. Again, if the characters aren't there and they're in separate arcs, that's fine to me because that tells me that like I have no problem with Whole Cake Island where it's like only half the crew there and the other half aren't there, because that's like the author making a clear concerted effort in like, I know which characters I need to focus in on and develop. And so, sorry, dog's doing something. And so I'm going to write around these characters right now, right? And you can tell a tighter story. It's when it's like, well, I want to have all my characters here. Like, I want to have all the Straw Hats, but I also want to have all the side characters here. And, like, these ones are going to get development, and everybody else, well, I'm not going to put, like, I'm going to have everybody because it's fun to have everybody in the arc. And if the arc feels really big and vast and grand and expansive when it's got all these crazy characters and stuff, but it's like, but the majority of them are in NPC mode, not really doing anything meaningful, that's when I don't think, like, that's when I don't think it's good character writing, in my opinion. It's just like, why not just tell a tighter storyline with the characters that actually mean something to this arc, or like have the other characters do something else, or don't really put them at the forefront of the arc. Like, having everybody involved and like trying to give little bits of dialogue to everybody, but only meaningful bits of dialogue to some characters, it just gets very messy. That's how I felt about a lot of Egghead, which was like, the Straughts are there and they're weirdly involved in everything. Like, they're doing stuff in the background or little bits and pieces here, or like they're like carrying the ship from one end of the island to the other. Like, they're doing stuff, but it's all like meaningless, almost like filler stuff, which is weird and pads out the arc. Naranjan Pundit, thanks for the 2. If the story was longer, what more would you want to see? If One Piece was longer, I can't even imagine that, honestly, because it's heading towards like 1,300, 1,400 chapters as its end date. If One Piece was longer, I think maybe some of the big off-screen events that happen, you know, like, it might be a generic thing to say, but the Akainu Aokiji fight. I'm never going to be one of those people that's like, oh, we needed to have seen the Akainu Aokiji fight. I don't think that actually matters for us in the story. I think it's almost more exciting to have not seen it. But if you give me the option and it's like, oh, well, I can magically make it longer and add in more events, I'd be like, yeah, let's see some fights. Like, let's see Blackbeard Pirates versus Marco and the Whitebeard Pirates, the payback war, right? Let's see Akainu Aokiji, something like that. I would also like more time spent on certain things, like certain characters, like dramatic sections, whatever. Like, that could also help always, obviously. Growth Stonks, thanks for the 10. Since Egghead is burned down, will York move the power plant to Uranus? And with York under Garling, will the Gods Knights invade Elbaf using Uranus? I think Uranus isn't really used for invading, right? It's used for destruction. I don't think it's good in that sense. I think there might be a development period of time before York can actually... No, but, like, they have the Mother Flames, right? So, like, they should be able to use Uranus really, really fucking soon. So I'm curious how that could possibly... I really don't know how that would come together in a way that, like, what's stopping them from just killing people now? I'm curious, right? Because do they have the Mother Flame? Can someone confirm they do have the Mother Flame, right? Justin Holland, always good to see you, man, and nice meeting you last week's stream. Thanks for the 10. Liked the video last Tuesday. Thank you. The answer to why Road Poneglyph not being in Morj could be summarized as not as foolproof as it sounds on paper. Moving target is harder, and Burn Scar can plan flexibly. I think that's very possible. I think that Oda needs to give a really, like, frame it as if Shiryu's theory is correct, and the world government has the Road Poneglyph being held by a government man who is on the seas traveling with it, there just needs to be a really, really good explanation from Oda as to why that makes sense. Maybe it is something like the fact that he can drown any ship that comes near makes it near impossible for pirates to get near him, right? Because they all have to travel by sea. But then there's so many other factors, right? Like by air or fishmen or stuff like that. I don't know. Moving target could be harder to capture. That could make sense to some degree. Like maybe if it's in... Like the one thing I'll say is like, it's not hard to break into Morj, right? Laffy did it pre-time skip with zero trouble, right? So if Laffy can do it with zero difficulty, it's like, I'm sure people can get into Morj. The revolutionaries recently broke into Morj, right? Like, shit happens. Like, people have been, if we're being honest, fucking people flit in and out of Morj all the fucking time, right? Like, maybe this is something decided after Fisher Tiger fucking raided it. It's like, okay, we don't want a Road Poneglyph up there. We want it downstairs somewhere, right? Or we don't want it in, like, a set location or something. Let's give it to our top guy and have him roam. I still think it's dumb and silly, but I'm just going by what the story's suggesting. So I think Oda needs a really good explanation for it soon. Kunal Dashawal, thanks a lot. Hi, do you ever get lonelier in early 20s? I'm 22 right now, and I think I'm going okay. So far, I earn, but it's just everything feels off, and I feel kind of lonely. So do you have any advice? P.S. Hire me. All right, so I'm going to start this by saying I'm not going to hire you. I don't really know what you do. I don't know. I can't hire you. As for where you are right now in life, I'll say this. I think, you ever get lonelier in your earlier 20s? So everyone experiences the different phases of life in different ways, right? I think that so I don't know what your life was like before your 20s, right? Usually 18 to 21 is kind of the age that people are in college, and you automatically have a bit of a social circle because you're in college, right? I can only describe the way things went for me. College, I made my closest group of friends, right? Upon exiting college, luckily, because I stayed in the same area, right, in Maryland, and I went to college in Maryland, because I stayed in the same area, my couple of closest friends from college, my few closest friends from college, they were still around. And so I was still able to be social with them in my early 20s. However, I focused primarily on entrepreneurial things. I didn't want to go to law school, so I pushed that off. And I didn't want to work a regular 9-to-5 job. So I really went hard on doing a video production business with one of my friends, and also started doing YouTube videos and stuff on the side for fun, right? So I really put myself into my own bubble. So, and it took a long time before those things worked out for me. So my early 20s, and I made some mistakes in that, like, my friends my friends from college who were still in the area, they would reach out to me a lot, want to hang out a lot, and like I would say no repeatedly very often because I'd be like, no, I need this weekend to work on this, or I need this weekend to work on that, or we're shooting this video project, etc. Right? So I'd say no very, very frequently, and I didn't realize it, but I was making myself more lonely in the sense that like I was avoiding social settings. I would skip parties pretty frequently. And I was cool with that because I was like, well, I know where my emphasis needs to be work-wise right now. I don't want distractions, right? And I was cool with that. But then I did realize at a certain point, I think like by the time I was like probably age 22 or like 21 to like 25 or something like that was, relatively 21 to 24, 25 was like relatively lonelier for me. And that's why when I moved, it felt like, fresh start, fresh phase. And that's when I was kind of established, good financially, etc. basically. And now I could focus on social stuff, etc. basically. But I don't like all that's to say, I know my experience is not the same as everybody else's, but I don't think it's weird when you leave, like, because before your 20s, right, you're on a track, right? So you have high school and you have a social circle in high school. Many people do. Not everybody, but many people do. And then college, which many people do go to college, right? And it's easy to have an automatic social circle that you can make in college, right? Not everybody does, but it's easier, right? Once you go out into the real world, especially if you're in a location that's detached from where you grew up, your hometown and everything like that, I can imagine it being much more difficult to find a social circle or do social things, right? It just becomes harder, and because you've been walking up these stairs of life, and then you get to the top, and then it's just a vast empty plane, and a lot of the hand-holdy things that made it simple and gave you structure, including in a social sense, are now gone. So I can understand that being the case, and I'm sorry to hear that. I would say that if you are struggling with finding people, I think one of the easiest things, obviously, is like, one, make sure that start with yourself, so make sure that you're financially good, you've got a good balance in terms of like your work doesn't take over your life so that you can start building a work-life balance. And two, start with simple things like making friends, and making friends as an adult can be simple, but nowadays there's lots of online resources. So like I made friends when I moved and I was in a totally new city. I made friends using a site called meetup.com. I found anime events near me. Before I had one friend back, like a friend who I've referenced frequently, who was into anime, like growing up, or like from college, right? But everybody else in my social group there thought anime was weird. When I moved here, I made friends who were into anime because I joined an anime meetup group. You can do that. You can find groups and stuff online that are into the same interests as you are, and just keep going to them, and eventually you'll find yourself a social circle. So that's the you start from there, and then from there, whatever you want to do, right? Like you start with making friends, and then once you make friends, it's easier to do other things like, just life things, etc. So yeah, hopefully that helps some people who are maybe in a spot where they want to be able to meet more people. Morpheus Christos, thanks for the 6. Could Kuma's backstory also be an allegory for Oda's ruthless grind as a mangaka? I don't know. Maybe he thinks of it like that, but I don't know if that's actually true. I do know that Oda loves his daughter a lot, and I think he has 2 kids now. But he's talked a lot about how a lot of his thoughts on the types of stories he could tell changed once he had a daughter. And I think he's even referenced the Kiros Rebecca story as one that he felt comfortable writing after he had his own kid. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kuma and Bonnie was a storyline that he thought of around the same time that he had his own daughter. Actually, let's see. What year did Oda have a baby? Okay, mid-2006. All right, okay. What year was Bartholomew Kuma introduced? Actually, probably Thriller Bark would be when it's more likely we found out the, what do you call? When was Thriller Bark going on? That's the real question. Because Kuma came out in 2002. Thriller Bark. Okay, so One Piece chapter 445-ish. That's when Thriller Bark will be coming out. Oh, interesting. Thriller Bark shit not too long after 2006. It's 2007. I don't know. Just a thought. Prince Jeremiah says saying Usopp did absolutely nothing is a stretch. No, he did some stuff, but nothing character-wise, right? Like I'm not saying literally nothing. That's what I mean by NPC mode, which is like they're doing things, but it's all like filler material. None of it's like significant character moments. Like they're not being treated as characters. They're just being tasked with petty tasks, like small tasks to do, or checking off like, oh, they did something, you know? JWP, thanks for gifting a membership. Let's see who's the lucky recipient. Nah, you good 29 was gifted a membership. Say congrats, and JWP, thank you as usual for gifting so many people in chat memberships. Also, it's about that time. If we get the stream to 200 likes, I will react to the new episode. Growth Stunks, thanks for the 5. Chapter 1125, York shot Punk Records in half, leaving the power plant. Chapter 1086, we learn that Saturn controls Uranus, which is why Garling has control of it. Okay. So, York does have control over the power plant. Okay. Interesting. So, pretty soon they can just fire Uranus at whoever, right? Isn't that kind of fucking crazy? Isn't everyone just fucked then? What are they supposed to do about Uranus? Who can stop Uranus? Jamie says, we have Oda's daughter to thank for Kuma being involved in Thriller Bark and making it way better. All right, let me start pulling up this One Piece episode. What episode number is this? What episode number is this? And after that, we will react to Hunter x Hunter. We need 10 more likes. Does anyone know what episode number we're on? Let me see one thing. Oh, we're at 200. What episode? 1121? All right. I gotta watch it the illegal way. Can't watch it on Crunchyroll. We always get in trouble for that shit. Okay, I think I found it. Make sure this is correct. Alright. I have been copyright struck for these fucking anime reactions too many times. So here's what here's what happens. Here's the usual song and dance that we go through, alright? I explained to you guys that I don't like getting copyright struck. You guys say, Morj, you're not going to get copyright struck. I say, listen, I'm the YouTuber here. I know what gets me copyright struck. And I would like to watch this episode minimized, transparent, flipped upside down, and mirrored horizontally. That's all I ask for. And audio muted. Those are the only things I ask for. Essentially making it unwatchable for you guys, but you can still tell where I'm at in the episode. That's how I would like to do it to be safe, okay? And everybody says, no, Morj, that's doing too much. You don't need to do all that. You will be fine. And then I, being the soft-hearted idiot that I am, I'm like, you know what? So many people in chat are saying this. How could they all be wrong? How could they all be wrong? What are the chances of them all being wrong and me being right? 100%. Because I get fucking copyright struck every time I don't listen to myself and I listen to you guys. So, this is what we're doing. All right? No more. I told you guys this. I think I gave you guys this ultimatum last time or the time before that this happened, that like if I got copyright struck, I would never do the reactions the way that you guys wanted me to again. So I'm following through. All right. We are doing the reactions the shitty way, with the video flipped, reversed, minimized, made transparent, and muted. That's the way it's going to have to happen. It's just the way. I don't make the rules. It's life made these rules. Life forced these rules upon me. All right, so let's get to it. It's supposed to be something like this, right? Ah, there we go. I like this shit. All right, can you guys even hear me? You guys can hear me? Yeah, you guys can hear me. All right, and I'll mute this. And then this thing, I'm going to do like this. And make this opacity nice and, yeah, there we go. Yeah, you guys like that shit. Yeah, and we're going to hide a lot of this. All right, there we go. This is flipped, mirrored. This should be good. We should be good. All right, yeah. You like that? Yeah, that's the way. That's how we do it. All right, here we go. It's happening. All right, everybody. Time to watch this shit. Move this over. All right. All right, here we go. Here we go. As much as I like the opening, we're going to keep it a little bit shorter so I can get to the Hunter x Hunter chapter. I do love this opening, though. It is phenomenal. I saw people on Twitter complaining that Garp looked too young, so I'm curious to see what he looks like. Am I allowed to skip a little? Can I skip a little bit? Can I skip a little bit? I can skip a little bit, right? Just a tiny bit. Oh, some people are saying no. Yeah, he and Aokiji look the same age. That's not true. They trained for it. Or it is true. Sorry, they trained for it. Yeah. I feel bad for San Juan Wolf because, like, his whole thing is being huge, but of all of Pizarro is just, like, strictly better, right? It's like he's a giant, like a giant, but then Avalapazar is the entire fucking island. So it's like he's a big guy, kinda, but not. But like he's just out big guyed by this other big guy. You know what I mean? That's kind of his thing. Like his whole thing is just being huge. But he's just tiny compared to fucking Avalapazaro. So what's the point? Oh shit! That's Vasco Shot's voice actor? I don't remember that shit. I don't know if I've ever heard this dude talk. Genuinely has a terrible Devil Fruit ability. As far as Devil Fruit abilities go, it's very, very basic. Doron Rustruvius says, is San Juan Wolf even a bad guy? He seems like a good dude. I mean, yeah, technically he's not done anything bad. Just woke up, got punched. I was bummed Helmepo didn't do anything in this raid, really. At least nothing significant that I can recall. Alright, here we go. Yeah, that's what Whitebeard said. Oh man, this is such Whitebeard vibes. Hmm. Ah, the strongest first mate makes his appearance. Man, the amount that they had to handicap Garp for this shit. Because it wasn't even like they had Shiryu like sneak up and attack Garp. It's like they had to set up that like Kobe was getting sneak attacked by Shiryu, and then Garp had to throw himself into the way of that attack to save Kobe. So it's like without Kobe there, Garp might not even have like fucking lost to these guys. Oh my god! No way. There's no way. Oh my god, the anime has no respect for Shiryu. What? Oh my god. Okay, if you go to 1050 of the episode, the sound effect and the expression that they make sure you make is just the most fodder-esque thing that you could ever come up with. This is actually hilarious. Oh my god. Is that one of Zora's final opponents? It can't be. That's so sad, man. What is he doing? He literally is going, I can't even make this. I'd feel embarrassed making the sound that he just made. Oh, oh my god. The anime actually hates Shiryu. He looks somehow worse here than he did in the manga. This is insane. That's it for Shiryu? Holy shit. Holy shit. JWP, thanks for the 5. Shiri's sword isn't even fucking invisible. LMFAO, you can still see his attacks coming. What the fuck? Is his sword not invisible? I gotta skip back. Hold on. Let me see real quick. Come on, load. Come on, man. Alright, let's see this. Oh my god! Why is this sword not invisible? Why did they just make it invisible till he attacked him? What? Oh my god! Oh my god. Do you think Shiryu picked the invisibility fruit? I'm sure they got to pick, right? Like, the Blackbeard pirates had some say in the matter in, like, what they wanted for their fruit. So was Shiryu just like, oh, the invisibility fruit. Yeah, give me that one. I know how to use it real good. That'll be my forte. I know exactly how to make the best of that. Because if so, that is downright embarrassing. I just think it's kind of stupid because it's kind of like, if you had the option for the strength fruit, you would just take that, even if you kind of want to use invisibility. Wouldn't strength just be better? You get stronger sword slashes and stuff? I don't know. Alright. Alright, enough making fun of Shiryu. Enough of that. Enough of that. Not only was that your fault, Gobi, they are all exclusively here to save you, so everything that happens here is technically your fault. Oh, is Shiryu getting back up? Oh my god, Garb didn't even do anything to you! He didn't use Haki! I mean, he did like a little bit. Oh my god, this is embarrassing. He just slammed him on the ground. No named attack, nothing. All right, here we go. Ooh, like that. I'll say the biggest thing that I think I've appreciated about the anime, the more that I've seen it nowadays, is that even when they're padding out pacing, they often think of small touches to make it and like interesting. I've seen this bit on Twitter, by the way. They try to make like at least interesting scene direction choices to pad out the time, like having the wanted poster hit Aokiji, slowly freeze, and then crack. It makes it slightly more interesting to watch rather than just like dragging out more reaction faces. All right, here we go. Again, for the record, I've seen this on Twitter, so forgive me if I'm not being as. I haven't seen this. I've not seen this. My pupil, you're like the same age as me. Doesn't know how to use hockey? Then what was he saying that he already learned how to use everything from the higher ups? He's like, I've learned everything I can from them. Well, don't use your hockey. I haven't learned that yet. Okay, motherfucker, go learn hockey first then. Hmm. Like that. They're including this shit, huh? I like that. Oh, whoa! Why was that so high def? What the fuck? What are they? Why is the animation the best for this? What is going on? This is like better than movie quality. I'm trying to remember the One Piece movies. I don't think the characters like moved like this when they're just talking. Holy shit. Avolo Pizarro is just confused. I've seen this bit. I think I've seen the Clash. Not all the extras. Oh, Garp smiled. That's a sweet touch. I like that. I like that. I like that. This was great. This is better than the manga. Like they really figured out how to flesh that scene out in ways that felt organic to the characters. That was beautiful. Yeah, he's taken. He's Rebecca's his romance. Back off. So random that this dude is cat themed. This doesn't make any sense with anything as far as I can tell, but it's just the way it is. Damn. I wonder if, like, when we fight the Blackbeard pirates, will it be at Hachinosu or will it be at some other island? I wonder if it's at some other island and then we see, like it's an even bigger island that Avala Pizarro is taking control of, you know? That'd be kind of crazy. Also, I wonder if his fruit's just, like, the straight-up upgrade of Pika's fruit. Like, you know how some fruits are, like, just the... Like, Machvis is the better version. Like, it's a direct improvement over Miss Valentine's fruit. Damn. Oh, shit. They're making Avala Pizarro look pretty badass here. That was a really good episode. That was a really, really, really good episode. Um, I think the thing that impressed me the most about the, because, like, I've enjoyed other watching other Egghead episodes for their really flashy segments, but I was kind of going into this episode expecting to skip around a lot, if that makes sense, like, just to get to the meat of it. But they actually paced that out really phenomenally well without ever it never felt forced to me, actually. Maybe in, like, a couple of seconds here or there, but it actually felt really, really well paced out. Maybe I should watch Egghead in the anime. Maybe I should watch Egghead in the anime. Because let me share something with you. So people have always said, like, Morj, you can't judge the anime because you don't watch it, etc. So let me share something. So for whatever reason, this last week, I just wanted, like, it. Sometimes in downtime, you just want to watch something familiar that you already know. And I hadn't really watched, like, that much of the Wano anime. So, like, I went and watched the full Zoro vs. King episode. And it was good, right? Obviously, really, in the ending section was phenomenal. And then I watched more of the Wano fights. So I watched Jinbei versus Who's Who, Robin versus Black Maria, Frankie versus Sasaki. I just watched those full episodes. And they had really outstanding bits of animation. But I still retained the same critiques that I had from before, which is that even in the Zoro versus King episode, Jinbei versus Who's Who was not a good episode. Like, it had really good segments, but overall, like, there were significant segments that it was just, like, clearly padded, clearly slow, insert unnecessary flashback, or, like, just clear, like, just I had to wait a lot for it to get to like a flash of exciting stuff, and then wait a lot for something really slow, without much to it in terms of direction or anything like that. And this might be blasphemous, but even the Zoro versus King episode, was Robin versus Black Mirror took a long time. It was 2 episodes from what I recall. The Zoro versus King episode, like, even in that, there were multiple points where it felt like, okay, now we have an awkward pause for a little bit, or awkward stretched out time moment, or awkward insertion of like a flashback that maybe goes a little too long. Obviously, the final segment was just mind-blowingly beautiful, but the whole episode, I'm like, damn, if this is like a top-tier animated episode, and even this, I still feel like that way at points in it, you know, that like, then looking at, like, and this is me watching the fights of Wano, I'm like, I can't imagine watching like the 90% of other episodes that don't have this sort of stuff, like the good animation, and are just like padded out, right? So that was my, like, I felt reinforced, like, I gained appreciation for the Wano animation watching those fights, but I felt reinforced in my prior beliefs, okay? I wasn't even going to bring that up, because I'm tired of talking about the One Piece anime like that. But watching Egghead, and I've seen several Egghead episodes, and that's one thing that stuck out to me, which is that I don't feel as though the in-between sections are as bad. Like, this episode did have padding, and it did include flashbacks, but the flashbacks were beautiful, and the padding moments, again, it's like small touches that add to the scene direction of the whole flow of events that don't feel like they're just, it's not just the characters stopping talking at this rate with long pauses, or just characters staring for a little bit, or just replaying a clip from an episode that we've already seen as a reminder. I feel like that's been different in Egghead so far. I feel like it's still got the top tier quality segments of animation that I saw from the Wano stuff, but now the rest of it feels more smoothed out and smoothed over to feel a bit more natural. It's not just like a, like, hot and cold of like, okay, either it's just awkward, strangely paced padding, and then like some choppy type animation, and then suddenly mind-blowing, beautiful Sakuga stuff. It now feels more smoothed over and more of a consistent experience, and you can't really tell when they're trying to pad out. That's my experience right now. Funny enough, Sanji vs. Queen, I didn't watch the full anime episode. I just watched the segment where he kicked Queen's ass. I don't know. Maybe I should watch more Egghead stuff. I don't know. Jolly D. Joestar, thanks for the 2. Thoughts on I'll just say this. Like, the way that this episode was, which was from start to finish, like, I kind of got the sense, I assumed that this episode would just be like a lot of hype build up around the Garp Aokiji clash, which is what it was, but it was still smooth to watch the rest of it, which is what I was just really surprised by. Yeah, so now I'm like, well, if they just were able to make a decent episode just out of, like, technically only 1.5 things happening, then maybe the rest of, maybe I could watch I don't know, I'll see. Jolly D. Joestar, thanks for the 2. Thoughts on Hunter x Hunter chapter. We're gonna watch that now. We're gonna read that now. I'm curious. Okay, Maya says the Sanji versus Queen animation was amazing. I still think Toei did Sanji wrong in that fight, though. I watched the Ifrit Janbei section onwards. Solo AJ says, now you can still tell when they're trying to pad out. I did not feel that way in this episode. I kind of felt that way during the beginning section when, like, it's just Django in full body seeing the battleship bags initially, and it's like, okay, well, this feels a little extra slow. Here, let me find the Hunter x Hunter chapter. Give me a second. Read Hunter online. Does Hunter x Hunter have good Viz translations or no? What chapter, guys? What chapter of Hunter x Hunter just came out? What chapter just came out? Oh wait. Let me do a. A clear announcement for everybody. I am now going to be reacting to the newest Hunter x Hunter chapter. Now reacting to newest Reacting to newest Hunter chapter. Spoilers 401. Viz is good, Hunter. All right, let's see. All right. It's crazy to say that, just to see that it says next chapter of Hunter coming in 6 days. It feels a little surreal. All right. And forgive me if I'm a little bit rusty on Hunter's most recent stuff. I might have a couple questions, or forgive me if I forget certain names and things like that here or there. I haven't read this arc, which is a very dense arc. I have not read it in like at least a year and a half. Yeah. Okay. They're only on day 10, and I forgot that this is supposed to be like a fucking 30-day trip or some shit. Okay, so we're back upstairs. I'm happy about that. Back upstairs. We're still teaching everybody Nen. I think teaching everybody Nen was a fucking stupid idea that Togashi just needed to include into the plot with, like, logicking that, oh, well, if everybody has that, then... Like, he came up with a stupid logical reason for why it would make sense, but anybody with a fucking brain can tell that, like, it does not make sense to teach everybody Nen. That's the worst possible solution to this situation, right? It does go to the themes of the arc, but it's fucking stupid. I think I just don't like when an author takes something that's obviously illogical and obviously going to lead to a problem and tries to feed it to the reader through characters as like, oh, well, it makes sense to do this because insert bullshit reason. That's obviously bullshit. And then it makes for a very contrived conflict later on, which is like, who could have seen this coming? It's like, obviously this is a bad idea. This is a fucking obvious bad idea. But, you know, it's got to move the plot along. So it's just like, Kurapika's a fucking smart character. Like, couldn't some other character have come up with this idea and then kind of Kurapika's forced to go along with it? I don't know. She tells the truth right off the bat. I don't remember whose prince she serves. I forgot about the snakes. Sorry, this is going to be maybe not the best reaction. I'm going to be remembering things as I go here. Maybe I'll do a reread of the boat arc after this. After this, I might do a reread of the boat arc when I get a chance. Just so I can be familiar with everything. Can somebody tell me whose prince this is? Also, how many pages is this chapter? 24 pages. Okay. Oh, I can loan out my ability or restrict their actions. I feel like there's been a few of that in this arc, of like borrowing and giving abilities. Okay. Fifth prince. Hold on, let me try and remember the princes from top. So first prince, Benjamin, is like the very... he's like the big guy, very antagonistic. Second prince, Camilla, she has the cat. Third prince is the bald dude. Is it the bald dude? And he gives out coins. Fourth prince, Serednik, obviously. Serednich, most interesting character to me for this arc. Very, like, just a really, really fun character. And his scene of discovering his ability was like my favorite little highlight moment of the arc so far. Really, one of my favorite Hunter x Hunter scenes. Just really cool the way it was executed, along with like Melody's scene intersecting with it. Fifth prince, is that the one that smokes a lot? Is the fifth prince the one that smokes a lot? And who are the ones that have influence over the lower levels? Is it first prince, fourth prince, fifth prince? God damn. Tubeppa is the science girl. So maybe seventh prince is the one that smokes a lot. I don't remember that much about the science girl, but I do remember the visual appearance, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, tell him, Kurapika. You can't kill an end user with a 22 caliber. Yeah. I want to grant you additional power with my ability. I have to explain everything. Okay, now I'm interested. I'm very intrigued. Shit, I gotta go to the bathroom. Should I pee first? Manny says, man, I do not like Tagashi's art style. I'm not a big fan of it either, personally. But you gotta remember, the dude is like fucking disabled as fuck right now. So, like, cut him a break. I'm gonna go to the bathroom first. Because it seems like I'm gonna be reading pretty in depth. And I don't wanna be like antsy. Alright, give me a second. Third, fourth, and seventh princes have connections to families. Gotcha. All right. All right, let's see. Let's see what's going on here. All right, so my ability requires me to explain the whole truth first. If all I wanted was to form a contract between you and the prince, I would only need to tell you the details of the contract itself. Okay. So gotta explain your abilities to get the max use. Okay. Or explain the full plan to get the max use of your... Got it. Kinda. Oh! What used to be the true plan. Okay, and therefore Netero's granddaughter, in theory. Let's go. Great chapter to come back on right off the bat. Okay. Now we're moving shit along. Alright. What? Hold on. Many others with families like mine. What? I'm off to the... What? Hold on. So I am Beyond Netero's daughter, okay? Beyond 30 years ago, Beyond Netero talked some young officers like Kakin into having sham marriages. I'm so confused. Isn't like Kakin? Isn't Kakin the name of the? Am I fucking stupid? I don't fucking remember. I thought Kakin is the name of the. It's the name of the empire, right? So what? My father talked. I'm fucking stupid right now. I don't fucking understand. My father talked some young officers like Kakin into having sham marriages. There are many others. Okay. Okay, so she grew up with a fake family. Did this every time a new prince was born, in order to become royal guards for the princes, and kind of planting people there. Is that what it kind of seems? So she did not inherit a trait that she should have inherited from her father, from Beyond Netero after found out things. Yeah, she assumed Netero's purpose was to place. Okay, makes sense. So Netero's goal, Beyond Netero's goal was to place, from what we can kind of tell so far, Beyond Netero's goal was to place his progeny into the ranks of the royal armies, royal guards that would be guarding the king, princes. My parents told me when they told me about my real father. Okay. Methods are different. We were used as pawns. As I said, used Nen since we were born. New ones with Nen instinctively learn 10 and Zetsu quickly to prevent fatigue. Interesting. Ah, okay. Oh. Oh. That's interesting because Nen after death has been a huge recurring theme throughout this arc, starting with fucking Hisoka, arguably. That's interesting. Camilla's own ability is that. Take a good look with Gyo. Let's see. Whoa! Whoa! Damn. What the fuck? Oh my god. Wait, I'm screen sharing, right? Okay, yeah. They don't know who the target is, but they're sure it's a prince. It does not require actually being in the prince's entourage. Okay, interesting. It's only speculation, but I'm sure if it's that's Tagashi telling us that this is something to accept. There are more than 10 strong curses. Okay, 14 princes. Interesting. So Beyond's trying to influence the succession battle. So in theory, each one will be used as almost like a silver bullet to kill each prince down to the one prince that Beyond Netero wants to live. And be the actual successor. Okay. I like how I do appreciate this aspect of Togashi, because lots of times people can say that Togashi has too much text. I think the only time that I really feel that Togashi has too much text, it's certain circumstances when he's having a character logically break down a bunch of stuff in their head that the reader actually already knows. But Togashi needs the character to come to this conclusion. Like, the reader's already aware of something, but Togashi needs the character to, in story, come to this conclusion. And so he will spend like 5 pages of the character slowly going through the logical steps to figure it out, and then the character finally figures out what the reader is already aware of, right? You can do that. You like, I understand that it feels like the right way to do it, to perfectly have the character logic it out, but it can feel it's a tedious way it makes for tedious storytelling, right? Like, there's quicker ways to have them get to a conclusion, right? That's the only time that I feel that Togashi has too much text. In general, I really do appreciate that Togashi will work through every line of logic for the reader and make things very unambiguous in explaining why, therefore, and that means, I think, this would mean, this would indicate, etc. Because I like this. It doesn't make it all like if he didn't tell the sacrifices, like, the theory crafting is happening for us, right? If he did not tell the sacrifices, that means either Beyond knows how to activate the curse. I mean, the thing that we can understand is the curses, like the curse holders, users, the cursed ones, blah blah blah. They're silver bullets. They're meant to kill off each prince. In theory, leaving one prince or something like that that would be Beyond's chosen to win the succession war, right? The fact that he did not tell the sacrifices means that either Beyond knows how to activate the curse, or he's leaving it to fate as a condition that increases its power. And both would be logically coherent in the story, right? Interesting. Probably the latter. Beyond is in Kakin's innermost circle, so it's likely he just wants the eldest Prince Benjamin to take the throne. Interesting. So ideally, Beyond is probably... I mean, it seems as though Togashi's wanting us to believe that while the first one is an option, we should understand that the story is framing it as, like, Beyond's leaving it, it's out of Beyond's hands, and he most likely has somebody that he wants to win that's fated to win. No, I don't think it's Prince Benjamin. Interesting. So Prince Benjamin's a red herring. He would make all this effort for someone unreal. Wait, then what? Wait, you mean... Holy shit. One of the princes is Beyond's child. Holy shit! This chapter is fucking great! What a way for Togashi to come back. Holy shit! Oh, that's it. They just have to be born. Oh my god. That's it? They just have to be born. What? There's no mention of paternal lineage? Seems like a shitty way to set up the ritual, but alright. 10. All right. Neither side will interfere with nor attack either prince, queen, or their guards. This will last until 9 a.m. next Sunday, at which time the contract. Okay. A week of forces, that's funny. Unless you're at Sartnik, right? Then it's all good. If I remember how his ability works. So the additional stipulation is identify Beyond's child before either. Okay. 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 One-time use of my ability. Interesting. My current true plan. I fucking forgot about that shit. What's the current true plan? This chapter is phenomenal. Am I missing anything? Right? Okay, we're good. If my father's child is among the princes, as I expect, I will kill. Ah! If only my father had told me everything, even if my role had been the same, I would never have made this decision. Yep, understandable. Understandable. This is a good panel. Alright. Form corrupt because aura, but it's so faint. See, this is like a minor example of the type of text that I was mentioning before, which is we the read. So it's a character, right? Already. So it's a character who's trying to figure out something that we, the reader, already know, right? We already know. We've read the scene, right? We know what the scene is, right? We know what the scene is. We know what actually happened, yada, yada, right? Now Tagashi's writing a character trying to figure out what happened. Generally, this sort of, like, extremely in-depth, like, it's... There's just smoother ways to do this sort of thing. In that it's doing it for the sake of doing it, but it's not inherently interesting to read to the vast majority of readers because you're watching this character have a very extensive inner monologue, crossing off things, trying to figure out what transpired when we, the reader, already know what transpired. It's just not like devoting this much text to that just for the sake of it. I think that's probably the clunkiest part of Hunter x Hunter's writing. Most people don't do this unless it's in the... Like, you do this sort of writing when it's a mystery story, when the reader doesn't know the answer. That's when it's interesting, right? This isn't that interesting, and I think that's the one point where I will critique... Like, not critique, but, like, that's the one point where I would agree with the critiques that Tagashi overdoes it with text or these sort of things, right? Now, you could make the argument that this sort of thing is interesting for characterization, right? So if you had one character who really, really has these sort of extensive inner monologues where they logic through things at a meticulous sort of way, and we hear that every time, even when it's not new information, it can be good for characterization. The problem is that Tagashi does this for most characters. Like, it's like the story kind of almost steps back from characterization or anything like that. It's just like Tagashi goes into almost like... almost like I was gonna say something. Never mind. He goes into like a sort of almost obsessive sort of like, now I have to have this observing character basically go into this sort of like obsessive sort of breakdown of like everything that happened in detail, and it sounds the same from every time from any character that's doing it. And it's just, that's probably the biggest area that you can critique, right? All of this previous stuff, it is extensive text, right? But it's interesting, and it's getting at things that the reader doesn't fully understand, and it's breaking it down very in depth and trying to paint a very clear picture for us. It's great. This doesn't really fall into that category. Because it's important to have this character come to certain conclusions. I'm not saying that, but the way to get there ultimately leads to a big block of text that most definitely can be pared down, without doubt. I really do need to reread this arc because I don't remember this dude. Alright. So I saw a glimpse of Beyond a second ago. Let's see what's up. You got your beard in your own blood. That's a good line. Shit. He's doing shit next chapter? No, please. No. At least it's next Tuesday. Right? Or no, not next. It's Tuesday in story. It's next Sunday. Or whoever translates it first. Oh, man. I'm so excited for Hunter x Hunter again. I'm really excited for Hunter. Oh, man. I missed this shit. This was a great chapter. This is a great chapter. Oh, man. This is a great chapter. Oh, man. I missed Hunter x Hunter. Hunter's also really different than One Piece, and it delivers on, like, lots of things. Like, it's just, it delivers on such the... They give me such different things, you know what I mean? So, it's fun having Hunter x Hunter back. It's really fun having Hunter x Hunter back. I love this chapter. I'm really, really fucking excited. I'm probably not going to do more Hunter x Hunter reactions just because, like, I want to enjoy the chapters, and I will probably actually let them pile up a little bit. I might not be able to resist reading next week's chapter, but then after that, I might let them pile up a little bit. Amer Yasser, thanks a lot. Damn, I slept past a lot, but how hyped are you for Hisoka shenanigans? How much do you miss the GOAT Morel, and what is your dream Nen ability? That is a bunch of great questions. Okay. Hisoka was my favorite character in Hunter x Hunter for a long time. I don't know what changed exactly. I think in general, in my first read-through of Hunter x Hunter, Hisoka was my favorite character. I think watching it, he was my favorite character when I watched the anime. I think something shifted at some point to now, like, I love Hisoka as a character, but I don't know if he's truly my favorite character. I think Hunter x Hunter, it's just... There's too many different characters that I really enjoy seeing on screen. And I'll say one thing, which is that in Hunter x Hunter, like, a big thing is that in One Piece, I have strong emotional attachments to certain characters, like particularly the Straw Hats. Hunter x Hunter, I don't really have strong emotional attachments to most characters. So it's more so like who's fun, like who's the most entertaining and brings the most interesting stuff to the table when I'm getting to read about them, if that makes sense. The only time that Hunter x Hunter made me truly emotionally attached was the Meruem Kamugi storyline. So in a regard, I'd say I think Meruem became my favorite Hunter x Hunter character for some period of time. Phenomenally, like, just the Meruem Kamugi storyline is fucking... It's been praised to death, but I think it can't be praised. I think it cannot be overpraised. It's just that good. And it's just that special amongst at least all of the anime and manga I've read, right? Phenomenal storyline. Meruem, phenomenal tragic character, just like the perfect tragic hero. Tragic villain, tragic hero, whatever you want to say. So Meru and Kamugi was the one storyline in Hunter x Hunter that truly moved me emotionally. Beyond that, Hunter x Hunter characters don't generally move me emotionally. So my favorite Hunter x Hunter character can shift very often just based on who I find the most interesting at any period of time. So right now, for example, in the boat arc itself, Serednik has been my favorite character in the boat arc itself because I think out of all of the cast of characters in the boat arc, I am most interested. He's the most difficult for me to. I think he just always brings the most surprises to the table every time we cut to him. His fast development is really, really exciting to see. Yeah, I've been really, really enjoying Serednik, right? But it's not like I'm emotionally attached to that character. Obviously, he's a giant piece of shit. Yeah, but in a way that Hunter x Hunter is really fun because there's so many, like for that same reason, which is that there's so many different characters that could pop in or out of a given storyline that I'd be like, oh, this is really cool. Like we just got beyond Netero, focusing on him again, and I'm like, this is really cool. If we can cut away to Chrollo, that'd be interesting. If we cut away to Hisoka, obviously that'd be really interesting. Yeah, I am really hyped for Hisoka stuff because I think that we are just going to get to see Hisoka go on a tear here. I also think that there's one thing that's very interesting about Hisoka in this context, which is, in general, Hisoka is placed in contexts where he is competitive for the title of being the strongest, right? At least competitive for it, right? Like, obviously, the initial Hunter exams arc, obviously, right? He's probably the strongest character there outside of Netero himself. Tower of Heaven, or Heaven, yeah, whatever, the tower. Obviously, York knew he wanted to fight Chrollo the entire time, so that was kind of a heavyweight matchup being set up for a while. Even in Greed Island, he was really strong. Only Razor would have been hypothetically above him, and probably Bisky, maybe. Probably Bisky. But, and like, you know, if you're a hardcore Hisoka fan, you can even debate those. But he was kept out of the Chimera Ant arc because Hisoka would, like, he's just so far outclassed by the ants that it would almost ruin his character, who's always chasing and thinking of himself as the strongest, to be presented with the ants, right? So the boat arc is interesting in terms of Hisoka shenanigans because he's going to get to go on a tear taking out Phantom Troop members, right? And he's been humbled a little, not humbled, but like angered to some degree in that the way that everything went down with Chrollo, so he wants some payback again, and he's kind of like, bullshit, let's run that back, is his mentality. But the thing is, there's a lot of strong characters on this ship, like more so than outside of the Chimera Ant arc. It's more stacked than ever, right? Because you've got all of these fucking Zodiacs, and you've got Beyond, you've got a lot going on here. And then you've got the princes who have very, very broken abilities. They're not as strong combatants as Hisoka, but they've certainly got more broken abilities than fucking the power of rubber and gum combined, you know? So I think it's just a very interesting environment for him to run up against some stuff that's like out of his usual depth, I would think. I loved Morel a lot. Morel was a really fun character, but I don't think I was ever super attached to Morel. I think he just gave the most consistently fun fights in the Chimera Ant arc, and he was a character that I hated at first, and by the end of it, he was like one of my favorite characters in the Chimera Ant arc, but I don't really miss him that much. My dream Nen ability, if I'm picking one from the ones that exist here, I like Serednik's a lot. I think his is a really fun one. I like Serednik's a lot. I would take his. All right, everybody. Let me just see comments here, make sure I'm not missing anything. I like Leoria a lot, yeah. Brandon King is saying, Morj, who do you think is Beyond's Prince? Who do I think is Beyond's Prince? That's actually a good question. I'm surprised I didn't even like bother trying to answer that right here. If we were to quickly theory craft, right? Let's do that real quick, all right? So before we close that stream, Hunter, all princes. Here, let's see. We'll need a bit of a reminder. Okay. Actually, this is good. Here we go. Let's figure out the princes real quick. All right. Oh, fuck, the opacity. I didn't fucking change the opacity again. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to do that. I always fucking forget. About this. All right, here we go. I'm sorry about that. Apologies. All right. Okay, so out of the princes, and some are dead, right? So one way Tagashi could... Okay, hold on. So some are dead, right? I wonder, does anything happen to the curse user if the corresponding prince dies? That wasn't established, right? Or if it is, I'm forgetting. Keep in mind, not read the boat arc in some time. This is me just taking a blind stab, okay? Togashi could be totally fucking outside the box and fucking make it one of the princes that already died or some shit, but I find that unlikely. I think we would also see some more reaction from Netero, beyond Netero, if something like that had already happened, right? So, we're down to 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12 princes, right? This girl dying, or no, her dying was fucking sad as fuck. This was sad as fuck, her dying. Not like, oh, I cried sad, but just conceptually sad. I liked the two twins dynamic, okay? Oh, I forgot that there's another similar, like, age child to Wobble, but a little bit older. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cross off. I'm going to say it's not Benjamin. I'm going to go ahead and say it's not Benjamin, because it was kind of crossed off in the chapter itself, and just, it's a little generic, right? Maybe it turns out to be fucking Benjamin. We don't know. Let's say it's not Benjamin. Like, if we're going with the most obvious shit, like the most fucking obvious shit, like the most prime suspects are either Serednik or Wobble himself. Like, those are like the most prominent characters, right? Like, Wobble is represents the protagonist side, like who they're trying to protect. Serednik seems to be shaping up to be the ultimate antagonist of this, right? So those are the two most obvious suspects, right? So that's number one, and number two. But let's say we're going outside the box a little bit, right? If we're going outside the box a little bit, I think Fugetsu could be like a perfect little... No, because... Hold on. Are they twins? Are they twins? Are Fugetsu and Kacho twins? If they're twins, doesn't that complicate it? Because then... But they did say that there's only more than 10, so that it doesn't necessarily mean that there's one for each. Amar Yesser, thanks a lot. If Gon returns, I think it'd be as a specialist. Canonically, it's known to happen. I think it'd be interesting to see Gon's new ability. I just think Gon's just too simple-minded. I think that he's written to be an enhancer because that just represents him. They are twins. Then, unless both of them are Beyond's kids, I'm going to go ahead and say that's not the case, right? Unless that's a way to mislead us. I'm going to say no to this kid. No to this kid. I think it's not Tyson, even though it kind of looks like Tyson. I mean, Tyson would be a really cool underdog, like dark horse type pick, right? Because it's kind of like, oh, she just seems like this somewhat problematic prince that's spreading this stuff on the side, but like watch it spiral into something kind of crazy. I think that could be cool. I think his shit's a little too simple, so I'm going to say it's not him. I missed this guy. I thought he had something fun going on, and then it kind of went nowhere. Again, the most obvious two are either Wobble or Serednik, right? But it's almost like, are those too obvious that it's just too obvious to be the case, right? I think Fugetsu could be an interesting outside-the-box pick. It might be one of the... Because, like, she seems to be focused on and presented in a positive light, which doesn't necessarily mean... Like, remember, Beyond's kid is also Netero's grandkid. So there's something to think about there. This is too fucking hard. It's too hard. I don't know. I really, really, really don't know. I think Hulkenberg goes down a little bit earlier, so I don't think it's Hulkenberg. So one of these is Beyond's kid that he's trying to plant. I don't think it's Camilla. I think Camilla... I'm going to say 1 and 2 are crossed off. I don't think it's 3. I'm going to say 1, 2, and 3 are gone. All right? So I'm going to say it's either 4, 5... Was there anything that was said this chapter that disqualifies Tubeppa as being the prince? 4, 5, maybe 6. I'm going to say 7th crosses off just due to poor visual similarities. 4, 5, 6, Fugetsu, or Wobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are my picks. As potential. Amber, yes, or one more. That's why it's so interesting. We never see simple-minded specialists, except maybe second Prince. I'm fine if Gon does not return, though. Yeah, no, Gon should return, but I just don't know about this arc. Green Tomatoes says 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 are too prominent. They don't need the development. But it's also kind of like if you're shaping the arc around certain characters, then wouldn't they also be prominent? Like, generally good mystery, it needs to be a line between, like, this character is just prominent enough that, like, it's impactful and, like, there's build up towards it, but not so prominent it's too obvious, right? Ace Pacumic says the Reddit guy's take on Camilla was convincing. Damn, maybe I'll have to take a look at it later. But I'm burnt for stream right now. I want to go make food and eat dinner and stuff like that and do all that normal human stuff, so I'm going to have to call it here. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. I'm really excited about Hunter x Hunter being back, and yeah.